When it comes to serving his country, his
Honorable Jacob Olanya has the experience that necessitates, that takes for the speaker. He's been in the House for some years and Parliament.
Some of the State House NTV own good. The meeting became contentious after some of the councillors, mainly from the opposition FDC party, slammed their colleagues, saying they were selling out to the president. But those who met the president said they went to seek the way forward after a petition was filed in the Constitutional Court challenging the legality of their office and that of the city Lord Mayor. And as Suhail Mugabe reports, Lord Mayor Lukwago is questioning the methods and people used to call the meeting.
On Sunday, a group of newly elected councillors to Kampala Capital City Authority KCCA and others from the 5 city divisions met President Yoweri Museveni at the State House in Entebbe. But their colleagues who did not attend the meeting, mainly from the Opposition Forum for Democratic Change, who constitute the majority of KCCA councillors, snapped the meeting, saying its intention was suspect.
But it's very unfortunate. When I reached there, I told them that His Excellency the President Yoweri Museveni is the one who was inviting us. No, it's totally unfair. We cannot go to meet him. We cannot. Totally. We cannot.
Now, some of the councillors who were at the presidential meeting said they discussed their fate in the light of a petition in the Constitutional Court filed by one Mulindwa Muwonge, seeking to eliminate the local government and the Kampala woman MP from the city. The petitioner claims that according to the Constitution, the administration of the capital city is a mandate of the central government and not the local government. On Friday, the newly elected councillors and division mayor stormed the Electoral Commission offices, seeking to know when they will be gazetted and will be sworn in. Police dispersed them.
When we reached there, he distanced himself from what is going on in Kampala, because according to the law, we were elected as representatives of Kampala, as leaders.
Chairman of the ruling NRM party in Rubaga division, Abdallah Chitata, who mobilized the councillors for the presidential meeting, says the meeting was called in interest of the councillors with no sinister motive.
Kakati bakansala okugamba nti katugende eri atugoba kalinga mutugende nti atugoba tumubuuze lwaki otugoba awogobera mutawaana ki nze ngamba kabe Dr. Besigye kabe Dr. kabe Jeno Mugisa muntu kabe omulala yenno bammawu yali badde yasooka nayo.
Kampala Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago told NTV that the president has a right to meet the councillors, but he questions the manner in which it was done.
Personally, I wasn't aware of this. I tried to cross-check with the mayors of division urban councils. They were equally ignorant about it. And of course, I asked if there was any formal communication. None of the sort was ever issued up. But it wouldn't also be far-fetched if one suggested that there could be some bad motive, some sinister motive behind all that. Because it's not unprecedented. It has ever happened before.
Lukwago asks the president to delegate the many officials under him, including the ministers, to hand such matters to allow him to focus on more pressing national issues.
Mulindwa Muwonge colludes with some individuals in KCCA to file a petition to undermine the leadership of the Lord Mayor and all these other elected leaders. It calls for the intervention of the president. Then where is the state structure? Where is the government? Where is rule of law? Where is constitutionalism in this country?
Meanwhile, on Tuesday, the Lord Mayor returns to the High Court Civil Division on the matter of the blockade on his office at City Hall by KCCA. Suhail Mugabe, NTV.
The police say the head of Makerere University's Institute for Social Research, Professor Mahmoud Mamdani, is not cooperating with the force in its investigations into the circumstances that led a researcher to undress. The researcher at the institute, Dr. Stella Nyanzi, undressed on 18th April as part of a protest of a move to take over the office she occupied. She, among others, alleged irregularities and mismanagement at the institute.
Please take your phones off. I am speaking out for myself.
A researcher at Makerere Institute of Social Research, Dr. Stella Nyanzi, made good on her threat posted on social media when she undressed at the institute, sparking off a chain of reactions and debate.
Never, wallahi.
Stella Nyanzi's arrest on allegations of violating the Anti-Pornography Act. The police responded by opening up a general inquiry and asking Nyanzi to record a statement.
We have obtained several statements that we believe are very relevant in investigating what is taking place at MISA, and several staff, students, and other sections of the public have actually recorded statements with us.
To date, however, the police is yet to make any serious progress on its general inquiry into allegations of irregularities at the institute and criminal defamation, among others. Police spokesperson Fred Enanga says the institute's head, Professor Mahmoud Mamdani, is not cooperating.
He has been evasive for this period and always referring us to his deputy, that is Professor Chirumira.
If you want an investigation, fine, but the Vice-Chancellor has to be investigated also.
Meanwhile, the committee of the Appointments Board, constituted to investigate the management and conditions at Makerere Institute of Social Research, started its work this Monday. The committee, headed by the Assistant Commissioner in the Ministry of Public Service, Hajat Sharifa Buzeki, has 25 days within which to report its findings and recommendations. Those findings will be presented to the university's Appointments Board, which will in turn present it to the University Council. The Council, which is the university's supreme governing, will then make public its position on the recommendations. Dr. Nyanzi is currently on suspension.
The Opposition Forum for Democratic Change has threatened to stage a demonstration on the 5th of next month to force the government to agree to an international independent audit of the February polls. They made an announcement at the party headquarters in Kampala.
As a party, following the elections of 2016, where we won, and there are reports which clearly show that FDC won, we are explaining to the whole country and the world at large that we need quickly an independent audit to confirm some issues. And in that process, as a party, we have decided to hold a demonstration on 5th May 2016, which we call national demonstration about the demand for an independent audit and a free my vote.
With all due respect, anybody calling for an audit is simply divert the people of Uganda. It is an indication that after the Supreme Court ruling, which qualified the electoral process and the election results, that person lacks any other reasons to go out and complain before Ugandans.
We are calling upon all Ugandans to make sure they turn up. Let them turn up for this demonstration. It will be, this time we are complying with the Public Order Management Act. We are writing to police and we hope they will cooperate. We will have a procession from our party headquarters up to Nachivubo Blue. And they are free in their reply. They can say, we don't want you to be at this venue. We will comply to whatever venue they will give us. We will comply to whatever route they will give us.
The Kenyan Opposition Coalition, called Agenda of CORD's agenda to sit at the offices of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission yesterday. Team failed in an attempt. It now brings to the fore the critical nature of the mission and exposes to what extent the coalition is willing to go to achieve its aim. Ken Mijungu looks at the way in which this may have been important for the opposition, that they must now go back to the drawing board.
A week after the CORD leadership had made known their intention to storm the IEBC and seek the removal of the commissioners, they were here to see through that promise. But in their way, locked gates and heavy security. That was not to deter them as they sought to find their way in, one way or another. That venture, however, did not pay off. Under a haze of tear gas, the crowds, including the leaders, dispersed faster than they had gathered. The tear gassing of the leaders was the culmination of a day that saw hundreds of CORD supporters gather outside the anniversary towers, sometimes under the falling rain. They waited on their leaders for that main event. But from the onset, the security officials had made it clear that there would be no access to the buildings for the politicians and their supporters.
We are not going to allow a situation where somebody wakes up in the morning, then decides you go to somebody's office and eject him from that office. That will not happen.
And the police made good on that promise, ensuring that no one other than those who worked in the building were allowed to set foot inside.
Tomorrow we'll be here again, and day after again, and day after again. Yes.
With security tightened around the IEBC headquarters here at the anniversary towers, it remained a case of being on the outside, looking in for the CORD coalition principals and their supporters as they go back to the drawing board and re-strategize on ways of making their case heard. Brenda Wanga, NTV, Nairobi.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Safety, comfort, and relief make a good life. Narambi Villas Chico.
The 26th of April 2016. Welcome to Morning at NTV, the press review. And joining us is Mama Josiah. Mama Josiah!
I saw Josiah over the weekend. The kid is growing, eh? It looks like he's eating cassava already. Looked at me and saying hello, and this tough face of, what are you doing to that little man?
No, he's wonderful. He's up by 5.
Oh, with
is your alarm clock?
Yes, I don't need one. But I think he needs to know when Saturday and Sunday This is really unfair.
But this is really.
But why didn't anyone prepare for you? David, you single man. You have no problems in this world. How could you bring for this
nursing mother?
Nursing mother.
Sincerely, she has to eat for three. Up. She eats for herself, for her baby, and for the husband.
Well, it must be some good news for especially the civil service, the civil society organizations that have been collecting signatures. According to Daily Monitor this morning, government rejects MP's tax exemption.
Now, is it just rejecting? I reject. And you do nothing, but you've rejected?
That's the permanent secretary to the Treasury.
Or are they actually going to enforce it?
I hate to be a prophet of doom. This rejection, by the way, when you say government has rejected, you imagine it is President Museveni who has. Yesterday, the Ministry of Finance, permanent secretary and his staff, they held a press conference and they were explaining a couple of things, saying, look, our economy has kind of plunged, so if you're going to begin exempting people from paying taxes, it's going to eat our dinner. And so he was saying, look, it's not fair for MPs to lodge taxes, yet over 250,000 citizens, well, those that have petitioned the president and so on, but many Ugandans do pay tax.
The target is 500,000
for
the signatures.
The signatures, 250,000 have been raised. But the point here really is, they are going to petition President Yoweri Museveni, but look, he needs that parliament on his side. He's not going to reject the
tax
exemption.
Does he need it? Is he going to stand 2021? Why does
well,
he need it?
if at least for the 5 years that he's going to be president, leave alone the whatever is going to happen in 2021. But for now, he needs them to, do things in his favor, pass laws he wants. Whenever he goes with a supplementary, they rubber stamp it.
I think it's too early to start buying the MPs. Really?
It is wise to buy these MPs who can be sold for 2 million shillings if they convene somewhere. It is wiser now to at least say, but you guys, I cut some money, really. Today, now that you come to Champers, just have tea and go away. Because every month I give you money. That's the point.
The other is more difficult, of give them 5M and that kind of thing. This one is a bit more formal. It's not unfortunately. So the government has rejected it, and so it's not going to happen.
And now I think, these MPs also are now wise. They know that the only way you can get some more money if the president, because ideally these assemblies at State House in Tebe, at Chankwanzi, are not, on several occasions, they are not to front the interests of the nation. This is an emergency, we have to pass an emergency supplement. They are to front the interest, the position of the president. And I think the MPs know that, okay, if you want your position to be passed, you're going to have, like the young people say, make it rain. And he does that. And he has done that in the past. So if he allows this exemption, I think every month he'll be giving them something for the next 5 years.
That's too much.
So in other words,
I'm just been thinking, why hasn't he ever invited the media over?
To do what?
Just asking, so that as you're in your own
no,
words.
when you media, when you go to State House in Entebbe, what you do, you fight over food. You fight over food. And who gets what beer, how many sumbusas are there. We have seen that before. And it's such a shame. All these people, it's a huge shame, by the way, that these people who go to the State House, these journalists who go to the State House to meet the president, that's all they talk about.
It's not just State House, by the way. Journalists, when they go to different, breakfast meetings and you see them scamper for food, you see them scamper for envelopes. I want to blame them partially. One, because it is wrong, for our profession, it's going to the gutters when people begin to do these, what we call them, envelope stories or that kind of thing. You go where they're going to give you transport refund. But I'll tell you what actually precipitates this. Many journalists are not like you people. You're clad in suits, you're well taken care of and that kind of thing.
We are well taken care of. Why are you?
In comparison to, let me give you the comparison. Do you know that in this country, there are journalists who are paid for a story? Do you know that?
But they are in Nakapiripiri.
Okay, here in Kampala, do you know there are those who will actually run around the whole day and so on, do the story, and they're expecting to get actually 5,000 shillings. You take it to an editor of the media house and they say, our docket is full, or it's, it's not newsworthy. And that happens on a daily. But even those that are actually fully employed, those are freelance, those that are employed in many media houses in this country, One, they're paid dismally. Their pay comes after 4 months. I know journalists in this Kampala hours who are suffering that way. So media houses should pay their employees.
So
thank God for NTV, they pay, on time. Of course, it wouldn't be a very bad thing if Age Konde decided, I'm going to triple your salary.
Yeah.
but really.
Before we address.
You and Grace, we shall
that's an awesome tool. Thank you so much, Stella Nyanzi, for that. Speaking of Stella Nyanzi, police have started the Mamdan Nyanzi probe, and they want to interrogate Professor Mamdan because while undressing in protest last week, she claimed that there were many irregularities in the management of MISA. Of course, we'll be following that story. There's nothing really home to write about.
No, but it's interesting in the news story that we did play earlier. Mamdani, the police have tried to contact him and he refers them to his deputy. And I'm thinking, but they want you, He's referring them to Professor Chirumida, who can't do anything, I guess. That's why the police are saying he's not cooperating with them. And he also wants the Vice Chancellor investigated.
They're investigating the institution.
Well, I think they want him to answer.
But you see, the little I know about investigations, if I choose not to show up for an investigation, you go ahead and make your report.
Well, the police are not happy.
Will be biased.
Not cooperating.
The police are
not
happy.
in this case, because there's no criminal charges against him. But what can happen, of course, it will be unfortunate for him if he doesn't show up before a probe. The probe can end up giving a biased view. That happens a lot in Parliament and wherever.
And that's why some people have said Professor Mamdan has no moral authority to say the word impunity because this is what he's doing.
No,
why aren't you cooperating? Just cooperate.
But you heard the reasons that he gave the other day.
And we move on.
He said the Dumba setup committee is a biased one. Dumba has interests in this. Stella Nyanzi is his niece and that kind of thing. But anyway, I'm looking at the man and is thinking, what do I have to lose? I can resign.
Yeah, if you're telling the truth also. But I think if you're telling the truth,
But you also want a committee that is not biased. And I hear him when he says, wait a minute, this Dumba setup thing here, I don't want. Because Dumba is an uncle to this woman here.
Though he said they are just of the same clan.
Of what?
And that he's a leader in the clan. That's what he said.
Who?
Dumba himself.
But he considered that they're relatives.
I heard him on TV say that we are just of the same clan.
And when they were voting for the Vice Chancellor, she didn't vote.
Who cares about that?
But
what do you mean for obvious reasons?
Because they are related.
No, I thought she didn't do it because she didn't like him.
No.
If you were related to someone who was standing, wouldn't you give them a vote just because you want them to go
We know someone here called Simon Kasiate who would any day, without any reason, vote for the good Attorney General.
That's not
true.
Yes. That's what he said.
Yes.
Because he looked after him, paid for his school fees. And
so, you know how traumatized he was when Ruhindi lost the seat?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Of course he was traumatized, but Simon Kasiate would vote for Ruhindi any day.
Oh, that's what you mean, yes.
Yeah, and that's the same position that she took. But the police have started that investigation. We'll be on top of this story and make sure we follow those events very closely. Speaker, on the other hand, Kadaga has been backed by a section of Buganda.
By the other half.
Buganda MP.
The older half, probably. The younger half are for Olanya, saying he's good and all that. And the older half.
But what do these ones know about Kadaga?
Well, she has been with them. She has probably done good things for them. Given them trips abroad and so on.
She conducts Parliament up to 10 p.m.
with her for a long time. Many of these young ones, they probably don't even know the spelling of the word Parliament.
Do you think it's going to divide the Buganda caucus?
Let me be honest with you. I look at these two individuals, and with all due respect, I've lost respect for both of them. They've taken their fight to the media. They are calling each other names, and I'm thinking, leave that to children. Leave that to this woman here, this one here. I don't expect that of Rebecca Kadaga. I don't expect that of Jacob Olanya.
But if they feel,
if lawyers,
each feels their rights are being violated, or they feel they stand a chance and they want it.
So you go to the media volubly and you begin ranting like a child. They agree. Oh, come on. If you're good, you relax. Okay, wait for D-Day and you see how things
But sometimes good won't get you anywhere.
But I thought they're voting them based on what? Are they voting them based on who cries more in the media and who rants a lot more?
That could help. It could win with
I think it does. You know, sometimes being good is not... We have all seen this Nokia thing. You know, the CEO saying they didn't do anything wrong, but somehow you know,
We
I
just
guess
know
the
what is
world
right.
moved faster
Than them.
So you can just be there good, and you know, if your competitor moves faster than you and cries more than you,
boom. Then if it's about crying, we know who is going to win at the end of the day.
who is crying more?
The one who has cried more.
I don't know.
Oh,
What
that's
is it?
great. Hey, they're bribing. Hey, you
Let's
don't ask me
Kadaga
stupid
then.
questions when journalists were asking her, the right honorable speaker,
But if
to
the
make a
questions
comment.
are stupid.
Hey, me, I don't want to comment on stupid things. I say, "Yeah, but mama."
But you journalists, that's why I said the other time that I did not really disagree with Biandala punching the person, because you journalists can pound someone, you can
need
provoke.
to be careful what you're
Mama
quoting,
Josiah.
what you're saying. Eh?
Brian,
Is Josiah going to study
No,
from
no, no,
America?
no. Brian, if I asked you every day.
So
Brian,
you're saying
have
you
bought
actually
your
did
Benz?
blame
Have you
Biandala
bought
for
your
doing
Benz?
what? Let me be sure I get you right.
When are you getting married? When are you getting married? I asked, have you bought
get
your Benz?
tired.
When are you getting married? Have you bought
You
your
get
Benz? Have
annoyed.
you?
Maybe stop diverting us.
No,
I want to
it's
be
the
sure I
same
got you
thing.
right. You said that actually Biandala did nothing wrong by punching that journalist, right? Did I hear you right? Yes or no?
Journalists can provoke someone.
No, let's talk about the Biandala
maybe,
issue. You're saying
Rebecca Kadaga
Biandala
was tired and she thought that that question wasn't
stupid.
was stupid.
Okay, but you're saying that Biandala did nothing wrong by punching that woman.
Maybe.
I want to hear it from Mabel.
Mabel, talk.
Please. You're saying?
I'm just saying that we need to hear his side too.
Yeah.
But we saw him. We saw
No, we
his
need to
hopeless
hear
side
now.
on TV.
We need
give
to
us
hear.
a-
We need him to tell us.
Anyway, transporting oil to Tanzania to cost 40,000
They couldn't
shillings
do that
per
one.
barrel.
I hope
Police
there's no blog that's going to be released.
Hey, you are in trouble now. You have chance though to repent and make good.
No, I mean, but you know, sometimes if someone is in the wrong, if someone provokes, I've given the example. If I ask you every day, one day you even get this card and say, maybe I'm not married, and you
So when
say,
I
"Maybe
punch
I'm
you,
buying
then
the
it is
Benz."
right, eh?
It's just like if you keep on asking and asking.
No, but you see,
and
that's
asking
different. That's a
and
personal
asking.
matter. When you are in the public eye, we in the media shall keep hounding you. If you don't want that, you retire, go away quietly. And there are people who have done that quietly. When is the last time you had Apollo Sivambi being besieged by journalists? He retired quietly. So if you're Biandala or many
But
of
also
these
because
funny,
he was a good man.
well, that
That's
again is
debatable.
debatable. But the point really I'm making is people are not on his. He has left quietly. So if you want not to be disturbed by journalists, you live quietly. Why do you have to steal and I don't know do what to keep?
Let's talk about money. Let's leave that.
Money. Are they going to give us
Look
money?
at this. Anyone who uses my photo henceforth without my explicit permission will be sued in the high court of the land, because there's a bank going to pay this laughing farmer 150 million shillings.
No, for me, you use
Oh
my picture
goodness.
and then I sue you afterwards. Really, use my picture.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and
You
then you
said,
pay me afterwards.
On that note,
Yes.
here there's a small little, no, it's not little actually, studio that got a picture of my wife and I and lies to people that they took my photos. I'm coming for you. I will close that shack down.
But today is actually
Otherwise, you have to-
international.
that's what I was going to say at the opening. You said international
It's international
intellectual property day.
Intellectual property right there, and they're focusing on online this time. You know what you put online, the videos, the artwork.
People who steal tweets.
You
But it's
retweet.
just that in this
No,
country,
they don't
Hey,
retweet.
hey.
They go to your they say, okay, Joel has tweeted today is such a sagacious, perspicacious day. Then copies, pastes on their page and tweets.
Today is
But you
such
see,
a-
if Joel Senyonyi has not patented that, he cannot sue. We don't patent things here. We just, you know, we probably need to begin to patent.
So I need to patent my photos.
No, photos, that's different. That's you. But I'm talking about, you know, intellectual property of I have an idea and then I share it with you guys. Before I know it, you have run away with the idea and you formed the company.
No, there's a law. There's a rule actually. And this is something that was researched. Whatever you think creatively, there's about 7,000 people who think the same.
Why haven't they?
Therefore,
brought
if
it
you
up?
take long to do it, someone else will do it.
Exactly. Especially if it's
So
different.
you
from-
can't sue me for stealing your idea. It's not yours. I might have talked to the 5,000 people.
Other people
and I
about
talked
the
to them.
same
Not
idea.
you.
That's also arguable. But you see, if I have not gone, you know, a step further and maybe written it down or that kind of thing, you know, it becomes difficult for me actually to seek
Yeah.
litigation. We don't do that here.
But
That's
and
why-
the law is weak here also as well. Now,
No,
like,
but no,
okay, the law is there,
you
but
see now,
enforcing is hard.
If I come to you, if I come to British Council and say, this is my idea, we sign a non-disclosure agreement. If I hear it from anywhere without my involvement in that process, I can sue.
I talk about a media house, I know. Somebody was ranting to me about a certain media house. I took them my idea. They said, no, we don't want you, not good quality, even your show is lousy. Then this chap told me a month later, I saw my show on TV.
Better. No, if the media house has made it better, and your idea was crap, for lack of a better word.
Why? But they got the idea from you. But even then, the media house can reason and say, but you see, we have had this cooking. It's been in the office.
Yes.
So
you have no.
Let me ask something. Yeah? Would you buy a music CD here? You know the original music CDs are about 40,000 shillings, thereabouts. The ones from, you know, from abroad.
It costs me 500 shillings.
Would you buy, for even a local artist? On Friday, whom did we have?
If
Winnie,
the artist
who was
is
here?
good, if the artist is good.
You'd spend 40,000 shillings on her CD.
I own an autographed CD that I bought myself for Isaiah Katuma, Morris Kiria. I own those CDs. Subi. Okay, and that's because their music is really good. I have one of Bebe Cool too. Go Mama. I love
original.
Music. Yes.
Original. And you?
Now you see why.
John said doesn't have cafe on date a long time ago. Okay, we have to go through this.
Burundi suffers year of bloody crisis, and the ICC has actually picked interest in this case. They want to do a bit of investigation and see how far they can take it. United in grief, world mourns Papa Wemba, and Ivory Coast, we are told, is to host an all-night tribute to Wemba. The quote of the day, this is made by MP Kasibante on Buganda Caucus Chairman Godfrey Chiwanda. He got people who are not members of the caucus, and they made pronouncements on behalf of the caucus. It's interesting how even several opposition folks are supporting Kadaga.
Yeah, but like I said, you know, older, wiser.
And it's okay to support whoever. You see, for me, my challenge, like I keep saying, is that these two leaders, they've gone to they're like children. Crying. This one accuses the other, hey, you're greedy, you messed up parliament. You know, stupid,
I'll eat you like a samosa. Okay, the Rainbow Magazine here for your kids. You can read about Amber, the young artist. She's an upcoming artist and a pupil of Eliana Junior School. She's 8 years only. The sports world, of course, there are lots of stories. KCCA and Vipers warming up for the UPL title decider.
Can I say one thing? I think I'm officially leaving Arsenal for Leicester, and I wanted to do something with Darren.
Shame on you, Arsenal is going to come back next season.
No,
Leicester's players, all Leicester's players have been bought by Real Madrid. I don't know what
No, but I mean, after drawing that game on Sunday, I thought, you know what, I can't do this anymore.
You're not loyal.
Are you serious?
Yes. That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
God.
In my life.
You're not loyal.
I've been loyal for how many years?
I really feel now sorry for your household. Your husband supports a very weak team. You not.
Which team is that?
Man U.
A very weak team which is not going to play.
But they always beat you people.
No, but anyway, I was just thinking about my son. How will I tell him that I supported that?
Support KCCA.
I think so.
So you see why I support none of these things of yours. I don't have that stress.
Joel, what stress?
She's traumatized, even you're just there stomaching it. You're trying to support them, defend them, but inside you're thinking, but this is
There's an interesting read in the Daily Monitor about whether wealthy Ugandans should actually pay more taxes. Read about that.
Why shouldn't they?
Share with
should
us
they?
on our
should
Facebook
you?
page. Yes, they should.
Yeah,
Some
but
of us who are not paying
should
anything should stop paying taxes.
Look, everybody should pay their fair share, but again, as you do that, you want to be sure what's
graduated
concomitant to how much you make. But you see, at the end of the day, you don't want to make it as if it's a bad thing. Make it seem like it's a bad thing to be rich. Of you're rich, so we are going to hound you, we are going to penalize you, and
let's punish you for being rich.
You make it seem like it's a bad thing to be wealthy. No, it's not. But everybody should pay their fair share.
Later on the show, like Mabel said, today is World Intellectual Property Day. She'll be talking about that and how you can patent your content before you send it out. That was deep, guys. That was deep. Patent your content.
You should put like that one. Otherwise, somebody
word artist, you know. I should patent that statement. Yeah. So she'll be talking about that. Also, the big story is coming up in a few minutes. Stay with us.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
NTV is giving you an opportunity to get discovered. Be the next big screen star. Are you an actor or an actress or have dreams to become one? Well, here is the biggest chance to fulfill that dream. Take a picture of yourself and tell us what makes you stand out. Then #discover me on any of our social media pages. We are watching and we want to discover you.
I use the 500 shillings daily bundle. I use the monthly bundle with 1 GB data.
Wait! AfriCell has all internet bundles.
Really?
Yes! All internet bundles from 10 MB to 100 GB from 1 hour to 1 year on the widest coverage at the cheapest price ever.
Wow! Dial *133# now and select the bundle you need with the fastest speed and the best quality.
So AfriCell is really the king of the bundles.
This is you. Your friends. Your family. Your fellow Ugandans. All arising. Because when people get information that is incisive, in-depth, and analytical, people take action. People create change. NTV News. Moving Uganda.
You know what they say about girls? Who cries more? Girls. Who does the chores? Girls. Who's the shopaholic? Girls. Who's all about selfies? Girls. Who brings the drama? Girls. But we want to show you our real world, where we're more than just girls. Introducing Spark TV, the first female channel in Uganda, made for you to bring out the best in you. Spark TV, it's your time.
Ekifo ekimu kissa wamusu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakiraza mumwa. Tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo, embeera mw'okolera, ebyobufuzi, ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Ebyogerwa tebiyita. Tuusa eddoboozi lyo, yogera naffe buli lwakuna butereevu ku NTV akawungeezi.
Help me, Javier. Get close to my son and leave the rest to me.
Mrs. Mabel, I'd love to feel that you're really being honest with me, but
I'm only asking that you help me to correct some of the grave mistakes I've made in my life.
No, Ismail, you have to tell me immediately what you're planning on doing.
Ismail? You're speaking to Ismail Mora on the telephone?
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
Kampala Capital City Authority. A lot has happened in this environment, if you like, since especially 2010, December. That is when His Excellency the President assented to the KCCA Act. It got to be implemented. Kampala got to have a Lord Mayor, then an Executive Director. A lot has happened since then. Yesterday, His Excellency the President met councillors, 275 of them from Kampala and its divisions, and they were talking of a couple of things. There's two petitions that are against the leaders of Kampala because Somebody says it became an authority, so it cannot be a district as well. So much pettifogging that is going on. Everybody is clamoring to have Kampala. Why? And who will take the day? That's coming up in the big story. All right, and joining me for the big story is Bernard Sabiti. He's a political analyst. Good morning, Bernard.
Good morning, Joel.
The battle for Kampala, do we exaggerate it? We in the media, do we make it seem a lot bigger than it is, or is it actually a big battle?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal, you know, when you see the government almost obsessed with the political leadership, what kind of leadership that we have in the city. It tells you that they are nervous or worried about, you know, the people that have taken the reins, especially on the political side. Now, there's an interesting background to this, Joel, as you said in the beginning. Around 2009, the KCCA bill was introduced, then ascended to by the president a year later. It was actually rooted in that act in the constitution which says that Kampala is some sort of a special administrative area whose well-being is the responsibility of the central government and things like that. Now, legally, actually, the people that are suing, the political leaders that were elected under that arrangement, I'm not a lawyer, but I think probably there's something there. The lawyers will always take any legal technicalities and take advantage of it to achieve their ends. Now, let's come to the political side of things. I have seen, I think the Kampala woman MP was the first person to be sued around 2013 for being elected illegally, along with the Electoral Commission, I think. By then, the woman MP was saying that, you know what, I was elected before the KCCA Act, and so there's no way that this can be applying to me and things like that. That was her defense. But now she has been re-elected within the legal environment that exists now, in which the KCCA Act was in force. So what would that mean? And then what would it mean for all other elected leaders of Kampala? But beyond the legal question, I think you also have to look at the political question, because almost over 70% of the elected leaders in Kampala right now are opposition. What does that mean? It means that even though from the technical side, of course, the government is fully in charge, these guys can still cause chaos from the political side of things. So I think there is a need for the government to kind of co-opt the new reality and try to drive a wedge, at least, after fighting for 5 years and legally failing to dislodge the road mayor. I think they are giving it a second shot, and I think that was what these meetings are about, meeting the president and all that. I don't really buy the argument that this is the president meeting elected leaders.
He said that he's actually going to be against that petition, saying that these Kampala leaders should be thrown out of that kind of thing, when he met the 275 councillors and other leaders.
Curious, because that's hijacking the judicial process. I was also surprised when I had him calming them down. Don't worry, I will take care of it.
Well, the petitioners, he called them his children. We know that they're supporters of the NTV, so we can call them to order.
And that tells you the whole thing from the beginning was actually more political than a legal question. So, but my view of this is that it's actually going to cause another protracted battle between the central government and the political leadership of Kampala. The exact scenario we've had the last 5 years, where the people elected the road mayor with a landslide, and actually he didn't even serve for a year. I think this is the same thing that is starting, and I think it's absurd, because in my view it appeared that Lukwago had actually softened a little bit. When he was elected this time around, he wasn't as buoyant as he was in the beginning of the last term, when he said he had defeated Museveni, not Sema team, but this time he was saying that he's willing to work with Mr. Museveni as well as Jennifer Muzisi, the KCCA chief executive. But it doesn't look like the powers that be really want anything to do with Lukwago. And actually, this whole thing is really about Lukwago areas. They are just bringing in these other issues, but I think he's such a thorn in their flesh that they can't stand him. So I just think they want to fail him, because if they kick out some of these guys, then there is no city hall basically politically, you know. So what does that mean? Lukwago is powerless again.
In the petition by one Mulindo Mwonge, he says that the work that should be going on around Kampala Capital City Authority is being stifled, is being frustrated by, you know, these deeper cause, political and otherwise, and he says that is why we should just have the technical wing. These politicians, they are frustrating the work that should be going on. I'm sure you have read or at least heard pundits say one too many things. There are those that will say, look, why do we need politicians in this city? The ED and her team are doing a good job. They're, you know, trying to put the city to order, and the like. Politicians are not able to do what it takes to organize the city. The other side of the coin, people do say, wait a minute. Yes, it's okay for the city to be organized, have the technical wing, do their job, but then again, you cannot disenfranchise the people of Kampala. You know, they've got their leaders, whoever it is that they choose to elect, that is who they have chosen. That person might be incompetent in the eyes of, I don't know, whoever it is, but the people have decided this is our leader, and so they should not be disenfranchised. And so it's a tightrope to walk, is it not?
I think there is some bit of disingenuousness on both sides of the argument. I think the people are saying that the technical wing has done fine in the last 5 years. Let's just have those. But how about the policy-making organ of any institution? If you are bringing that argument, then we shouldn't have ministers, because they are technical permanent secretaries. They are all those guys who actually went to school to do administration. So why do we appoint political leaders if that's the argument they are bringing? So it's a kind of you know, defective argument in my view, because they you know, we really don't know everything that goes on within the KCCA. You might be seeing the city, it has really improved, I agree, but from the policy and the political side, these guys also have their own arguments that who makes the policies that guide the implementation of these activities. Are we seeing people who are just doing, you know, waking up one morning and saying there should be a road here, there should be a fountain here? You know, I don't think that's really the right way to go about things. I think both sides can find a middle ground to coexist. I know they don't like each other, but at the very least, I think they should find a way of coexisting, because that's how political administrations work in all cities around the world. London has a mayor, but you can't say that there are no elected people from the different city councils around. So everything is just, they just want to if we had the ruling party dominating these political positions around the city, you wouldn't be hearing those arguments. So it's a political issue, really.
Here's what I think is a catch-22 for the Lord Mayor, Erias Lukwago, who, by the way, is an ardent viewer of this show. He always gives us feedback.
Yeah.
He, of course, internally would want to work with the system, because he knows that if he tries to oppose, then he's going to be frustrated and he cannot deliver. He might be thrown out and that kind of thing. They will do everything they can, orchestrate it to do what happened previously, maybe in a different way this time round. But then, being the opposition figure that he is and ambitious as he is, he looks at the many supporters that he has that are so livid towards the NRM and everything around it. And so they do not want to see him in any way get close to President Museveni or those around him. And so giving in to him and to his supporters would be seen as cowardice, would be seen as being quote unquote in bed with the NRM. And so I'm thinking he finds himself in that catch-22.
Yeah.
You want to cooperate with them so that you can get to do your job, otherwise you won't be able to do it. But then again, you're trying to be careful not to be seen with these people by your supporters who are angry at them. How should he treat this?
I think Mr. Lukwago, despite that dilemma he's facing, he must remember that he's a leader. Every leader around the world always faces that situation. I think it's an American politician who once said that you campaign in poetry and govern in prose. So when you are a candidate, you always have the extreme wing of your supporters who will want you never to have anything to do with the challenger. That situation is there. Mr. Obama himself faced the same situation when he was elected. He ran during the primaries as a very far left liberal, but when he came to governing, he came to the center. So Mr. Lukwago should realize that he's never going to make everybody happy. So I think he should also moderate his demeanor, his positions, and I think he had started doing it. But again, it looks like the other side is actually not willing to to come to meet him in the center. So how far is he going to come from?
Had he gotten to the center, you think?
Well, I think from his rhetoric right now, it appears that he has realized that idealism is different from reality. Okay, so he's trying to actually say that he's willing to work with Jennifer Musisi. He's willing to do this and that. I don't think we've seen him take extreme measures like he did in the beginning when he was saying he had not defeated Sema Timba, had defeated Mr. Museveni. So he has quite a bit softened in my view. But surprisingly, the other side is hardening instead of also trying to give him a wiggle room, because they should understand the frustration of his supporters. These are very angry, mostly young men who really don't like the ruling party at all. So they should at least encourage him, encourage his moderation, so that he can continue to come closer to the center. But when they start these shenanigans that we saw in NTV the other day, to be honest, I wouldn't blame him also because what will he say if he actually continues to give concessions when the other guys behind the curtain is actually plotting to oust him and his the majority FDC and opposition councillors. So I think this time around, actually, I think the government is more to blame than Mr. Lukwago. And I am not like a wholesome fan of Mr. Lukwago myself. I have my own misgivings about his approaches, but I think this time around he was really trying to be a bit of a moderate so that he can have something done. And I think he's learned that through the hard way. You know, you cannot be an extremist forever and you think you are going to achieve much. And I think he's understanding the context, the political context of his mayorship. You know, I think in the beginning he thought he was a mayor like any other mayor of a big city and didn't care about the very difficult political context in which he was operating. But I think the 5 years on Katebe has taught him something, and I think he's really trying hard to do something, but the other side, unfortunately, doesn't look like they have any appetite to meet him in the center, which is really unfortunate because the two sides must work together for the better of the city.
When President Museveni lost in Kampala as terribly as he did, he was quick to blame Jennifer Musisi. And many a voter will tell you the reason actually they voted against the NRM is because they were roughshod over here in the city. People were thrown off the streets. They were trying to eke out a living and they were sidelined. Why? Because we were trying to organize the city, quote unquote, if you like. And here is the challenge. There are those that will tell you that Jennifer Musisi has done an awesome job in Kampala, try to put it to order, clean up the streets, you know, put the roads in good shape, try to make sure that there's a semblance of orderliness in the city. But then others will tell you the cost of this. There's been quite a bit of collateral damage. There are these people, you're throwing them off the streets because you're trying to make sure the city is very clean of even these quote-unquote dirty people and the like. But then where are they going to? They are Ugandans too, so how do we make provision for them somehow? It's not enough to throw them off the streets because you're trying to make sure there's orderliness and so on. And I'm thinking maybe part of the reason she has been quite quiet, I don't know if she's reflecting and ruminating over this. How should she go about this? Because you see, it's important that the city be organized, that we have good roads, that there be a semblance of orderliness. For example, when you go to, you know, places in New York or some of these big cities, you don't find vendors everywhere, that's for sure. But then again, if you do it in the style that we have been doing it and then there's no alternatives, it becomes a catch-22 because these are Ugandans too. They need to find space in this country of ours. How do we do that?
I think the two sides making those arguments, each has a point. But I'm personally not a fan of giving any single individual person a lot of power, like free reign. Go ahead and do whatever you want, which is what Jennifer Musisi would like to have, because he sees these political leaders as bumps in her way to do what she thinks is the best for Kampala. But you see, that's how also dictatorship starts. You know, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Remember that saying? Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised if we give Musisi free reins and we just say do whatever you want. Actually, that is a very dangerous thing, because people around her, or even if it's not her herself, they can take advantage of that power. And people do that all the time. So this is why normally the checks and balances enshrined in our constitution and all constitutions around the world are very important to have. And this is why, despite the weaknesses and the politicking of the political side in Kampala, I really think they are actually important, because there are certain things you will never hear about, because you will be blinded by the nice flowers all over. And normally the picture is always larger, because there are things you might never know. And how much does it cost to have this fountain here? There is one they had just built somewhere which collapsed even before it started. How do people get contracts and things like that? This is why all these committees are very important. So I understand why these people are well intentioned, but mostly those ones who are actually saying that we don't want these people standing in her way, they are probably a small elite, the pushers, the people who even don't vote, because otherwise why didn't they vote? If they had voted, probably Mr. Kwagu wouldn't have won. But it shows you that while they would want probably to cage these dirty people somewhere so that people visiting Kampala don't even see them, these are actually probably 80% of the residents of Kampala, so you cannot do away with them, you understand. But I think what most cities have done is try to find like a compromise. We don't want to evict or send away all dirty looking people doing all this petty trade, but what can we do? I think the City Council has tried to do something about that actually, the KCCA, by creating special zones and markets so that these people can operate from there.
They will tell you they are damn expensive, they cannot operate in them, and that is why, by the way, when you go to most of them, they are partially empty.
Yeah, you know, but you know, sometimes it's really, you know, when you are used to something for a very long time and somebody takes it away, it takes you a long time to cope. Because when the tax park was changed from some place to another one, don't people still walk to the other park and find the taxis? I think at the end of the day, people can cope. But again, the evil impact of politics. You have seen these guys coming back selling things on the road. Have you seen them since the election? Because the KCCA had actually successfully convinced them. She has been lauded not just by people here, but across the world. I think the city has won a lot of awards in urban governance, from New York to the Africa level and things like that. So that's a good thing. At the same time, I think they must find a way of making sure that she coexists with the political leadership. Let her maintain her technical role and let the politicians make policies. Because ultimately it should be from the policies that are made by the political leadership that she should be implementing stuff, not just haphazard, just coming up with an idea that, you know, let's build something here. I think there should be policy. And whose role is it to make policy? It's the political leadership. So the two cannot do away with each other, and they must find a middle ground in which to work together.
Some have reasoned and said Kampala has outgrown itself. This is a city that was planned for a few 100,000 people. Today, on average, during the day, Kampala has between 3 to 4 million people. In the night, it, you know, oscillates between 2 to 3 million or thereabout. And so it's both a capital city, it is a central business district. Little wonder it is as clogged as it is. There's so much flooding because every so often there's a building sprouting up. Everybody wants to do business here. And some have reasoned and said, you know what, let's keep Kampala as the administrative district, if you like. And then we get another. You know, and some have talked about, for example, Nakasongola, where I come from,
I know why you are a fan of that, right?
But do you think this would make things a little bit better? Well, you know, elsewhere it's been done. Tanzania did it, Dodoma, Dar es Salaam, And some feel, you know what, we need to begin to spread out. Otherwise, if everything is clogged here in Kampala, I just want everybody comes here, and that has its own ramifications.
I think, of course, that's the way to go. I think the urban governance of the 21st century, it's not just Tanzania. Nigeria has Lagos and Abuja and things like that. But you see, we have a big problem here in Uganda. You know, I think some of it is, you know, small-mindedness, in my view. And I think there are people who actually say that Mr. Museveni will be a victim of his own success. That, you know, the positives from governance will grow so big that the repercussions from those developments will actually be very bad for him politically. Why is Kampala growing? This construction boom going on all over without any plan in place to actually make sure that
you don't want the buildings are collapsing.
You know, exactly. There is almost no oversight around, you know. People come to Kampala in droves every single day. You know, you can even look at the health sector, for example. People have a headache and they come to Murago. Why is Murago choking? Because everybody wants to come to Murago. There is a clear referral policy that Murago should only be for serious stuff, but nobody follows it. Kampala has, I think, a development plan for 5 years, for 5-10 years. Is it being implemented? No. You know, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development has all these fantastic policies of spreading urbanization across the country. Is there anyone putting those policies in practice? No. So it's not a matter of policy, it's about implementation. And why is implementation difficult? Because political cultures that are first given consideration always stand in the way of some of these developments. Because before approving the destruction of, you know, removing of a building that's in a road reserve, somebody will make a call somewhere, another one will make a call somewhere. So even if the law enforcement has arrived on the scene, they will be told that to go back, you know, because somebody has connections high up there. So unless you remove politics, especially from, you know, critical decision making, and you disregard the political considerations, you in the end never get anything done. In the rural areas and these small places, you might not see the impact right away, but the city is always a very big heart to the country. Everyone that comes to Uganda first gets here to Kampala. So you cannot really afford to have those kinds of considerations stand in the way of policy implementation. And I think moving forward, this is what everybody needs to be thinking about. How can we make sure that we implement things, even if they hurt certain people, but they are the right thing to do? Normally, every drug is bitter. I've never tested a medicine that it tastes good. But because it's going to cure your illness, you take it anyway.
It's good for you. Well, let's see how we swallow those bitter pills so we get better. Bandit Sabiti, as always, thanks a bunch for talking to us.
No worries. Thanks.
Coming up is my opinion. Now, politics aside, okay, maybe not aside, I'll tell you, I'm one of those Ugandans who gets troubled when we have got to make laws for particular individuals. You know, put in place this law because you're targeting this particular person, you want to squeeze them as hard as you possibly can, and I'm thinking, so what happens if they're out of the picture tomorrow? How sustainable is that? Could that be the dilemma that Kampala is suffering? I don't know, you and I can pettifog over that. But look, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing right. There are issues with this our good city. The other day it rained heavily and it flooded everywhere. And we kept thinking, okay, so where is the planning in this our good city? Maybe certain things need to be revisited. And hopefully for those that are talking about us creating another quote-unquote Kampala, well, it could be Nakasongola where I come from or wherever else, it really does not matter. Maybe we need to decongest this place. There's so much happening, everybody wants to come and clog here, and it has serious ramifications. As for the politicians, if you really love this country and this our city like you say you do, maybe you need to make amends. You come from this extreme, these ones come from this extreme, and you meet somewhere in the middle for the good of the people. Hopefully that can happen. And that's it for today's edition of The Big Story. Thanks a bunch for joining us for it. My name is Joel Senyonyi. Coming up in a bit is Everyday Life. Okay, doggy.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
NTV is giving you an opportunity to get discovered. Be the next big screen star. Are you an actor or an actress or have dreams to become one? Well, here is the biggest chance to fulfill that dream. Take a picture of yourself and tell us what makes you stand out. Then #DiscoverMe on any of our social media pages. We are watching and we want to discover you.
Why are you laughing? Because he pays 3 shillings per second. And how much are you paying? A bit less than his 3. With AfriCell, you can pay much less than both of them. With the Tokota 500 bundle, you pay less than half a shilling per second. What? Yes, less than half a shilling per second. All you have to do is dial *134# and select Tokota from the king of the bundles. Only on AfriCell.
This is you. Your friends. Your family. Your fellow Ugandans. All are rising. Because when people get information that is incisive, in-depth, and analytical, people take action. People create change. NTV News. Moving Uganda.
From the land of the rising sun, 100 determined athletes have accepted the challenge to become
I will be.
I'm gonna be the first
Ninja Warrior. Divided into 4 extreme stages, competitors face the ultimate test of strength and will in their quest to become champion. Many are called, few are chosen.
Demonstrating incredible speed, strength, and focus, Levi demolished the second stage. Makoto Nagano achieved the near impossible by becoming only the second man in history to complete all 4 stages of Ninja Warrior.
Now, let's find out who's tough enough to become the next Ninja Warrior.
Ekifo ekimu kissa wamusu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakiraza mumwa. Tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo, embeera mw'okolera, ebyobufuzi, ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Ebyogerwa tebiyita. Tuusa eddoboozi lyo, yogera naffe buli Lwakuna otereevu ku NTV akawungeezi.
Isa yalagula Yesu ng'alijja mabega. Akali mu bufunzi.
Yesu ne Isa ani yasookawo munne.
Isa.
Buli lw'otayogera na muntu kutegeera bimukwatako tosobola kumutegeera yenna. Tekisoboka.
Era endako yakatugamba nti Abaganda mbwanjala ajja kasukira eggumba gyegenda. Kale akagamba akukanuma.
Obote. Wateekwa okubaawo eddoboozi abantu lye bakozesa. Eddoboozi abantu lye bakozesa okutuusa okunnyonnyola kwabwe, okutegeerekeka, okutangaza ebibakwatako. Conqueror the British Empire. Naye nga Wakamu bimuyita, Wakamu amuyitanga mutya?
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. Kuwuliriza, kufumiitiriza, kukola, kwogera. Bina.
Tuwaye.
Bwe yamala okutuula ngenda okutunula mu kibatu kyange kino kye ntaddeko bwendi nga muvaamu ebiwuka ng'ensolosozi.
Ebimu byewuunyisa, binakuwaza, ebirala bikyusa obulamu.
Omuntu atasomya atya n'okuyingira office naye ng'omanyi nti nina omukyala n'abaana awaka nakinkola nina ne business naye ntya n'okuyingira office eno okwennyonnyolako.
Ye ddoboozi lye njogerako tuwaye.
Wanna make some cash? Just dial *185 hash.
Called Kopsinga Jasmine from Nigeria. I'm a senior 6 vacist and I'm doing a job per now. I'm a photographer by profession. I dialed *185 hash to enter the draw. I would buy airtime using *185 hash. Like if I have money on my account, I would dial *185 hash and then activate MBs. I want to thank Airtel for this offer actually. I can't even believe all this is mine.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Help me, Javier. Get close to my son and leave the rest to me.
Mrs. Mabel, I'd love to feel that you're really being honest with me, but
I'm only asking that you help me to correct some of the grave mistakes I've made in my life.
No, Ismail, you have to tell me immediately what you're planning on doing.
Ismail? You're speaking to Ismail Mora on the telephone?
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us this Tuesday, the 26th day of April. This is Morning at NTV. Today is the UN designated World International Property Day. Joining me on Everyday Life, we'll be speaking to a lawyer and an author, helping us understand what this whole huge intellectual property rights concept is and how we can add value to our creativity.
Everyday Life
is brought to you by
Star Times.
Once again, a warm welcome to Morning at NTV. Today, the UN designated this day, 26th April, as the day for World Intellectual Property. Joining me to discuss this issue is Norman Mbabazi, who is a legal eye, I should say. You are a Director, Legal and International Affairs with the Uganda Federation of the Movie Industry, is it?
Yes, formally.
Formally? Oh, okay. But you are practicing advocate with Businje and Company?
Yes.
Okay. And also Charles Batambuze, Executive Secretary of Nobutu. Is it Nobutu? National Book Trust of Uganda, and also the Executive Director at Uganda Reproduction Rights Organization.
Yes.
That's an interesting thing. What do you do there at
the...
What does the Uganda Reproduction Rights Organization do?
It's a collecting society or collective management organization established under the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act 2006 to protect copyright, to license users of protected works, to collect fees, to distribute royalties, and to contribute to the fight against piracy of copyrighted works.
Okay, now let's start with you've talked of copyright. What is intellectual property? I know there are different parts. There are patents, there are copyrights, there are trademarks. In simple language for the everyday person at home, what is the difference?
Intellectual property rights, in simple terms, these are rights given to the innovator by the state or to monopolize economic returns for a specific period of time in return for disclosure of the created work to the public. By that I mean you get protected to exclusively gain from that work as you expose it to the public. And in that we have industrial property rights. We have patents, utility models, trademarks, geographical indications, and then we have copyright. And in some areas, some countries, they have also added trade secrets and fair competition as part of intellectual property.
So basically, if I compose a song, if I write a book, if I draw a picture, come up with a painting, I can gain from it, and I have the exclusive right to use it. And anyone else who uses it has to pay me for it. Is that it in brief?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, there was an issue sometime back of, in this day and age, a monkey was being taught how to take a selfie. It was taught by a human being. Now, monkeys, I guess, are considered not to, you know, they're definitely not human. I do not know what rights they have. We have the picture actually on the screen, and this went online. And actually this year, the theme is online creativity. Now, in this case, the monkey took the selfie. Who owns the copyright?
My take on this. My take on this. I would want to say that literally the monkey should own the copyright, because you see, at the point when it was being taught when to take the picture, what's very important is who presses the button for the shutter. But unfortunately, there is no way the copyright or the intellectual property law did not cater for such.
Did not cater for animals, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So if in that case, I would think the people in the management of the monkey, probably the zoo, yeah, collectively should be assigned or should have those rights per se, because the monkey did the taking, you see. And it took the picture by itself. Yeah, literally the one who takes the picture has the copyright.
Has the right.
Yes.
You mentioned something earlier when we were preparing this set here. You said the gentleman, our cameraman, you mentioned our sound lady. You said that they actually have rights to this show.
Of course they do.
Explain that.
You know, there's what we call copyright and neighboring rights.
Ah.
The neighboring rights are those rights auxiliary to the copyright, that without them, there would be no copyright.
So without them, NTV can't exclusively own this?
They form part of the team that should own. Of course, NTV is the end result producer, because it injects the money and all that. But they have what they call mechanical rights, because there's someone who knows the right position of the lighting. There's someone who knows why this microphone is placed right here. Other than that, without their additional input, you would not have exactly what you're looking for. So ideally, they should own, they form part of that team, and they have they form the neighboring rights, but much as NTV has the copyright.
Okay, this year the focus is on online, and we have seen the digital age grow and grow. We have videos online, we have books online, we have photographs online. So much is online. How can we protect online images, online videos, online work, basically?
To begin with, in the case of Uganda, we have the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act 2006. It has some provisions on protecting works based on the existing formats, but also formats to be known in the future. However, that's not sufficient. And I think in terms of law reform, we need to include digital rights management in our act. We need to provide for what we call technological protection measures, because those are some of the things that people are using elsewhere to protect their works online. Of course, the other forms of licensing that people can use on their works, Creative Commons, open access, and many, many other flexible licensing models available in the world that people can use to protect their works.
If we have been seeing some videos, some local comedies that Ugandans have been producing. So if you get your video and you post it, is it not a public good, the fact that you've put it out there?
Well, my all work, you see, copyright is made in such a way that it is created, you get the right upon creation. So normally, or you don't need to register normally, but for purposes of knowing the time when you made it and because there could be competing interests, work similar with one another. But now the issue is who made it first. So once I post my work, I'm posting it to my channel, for example. So what's available, the thing about digital is the hard copy becomes irrelevant. What's relevant now is access. And how do you access my work? I must license you to access my work. You see? So by posting it there, that's why people have logins. You must create an account. Probably you're paying by PayPal or something. And unlike YouTube, where you post your work and it pays you for viewership because it has adverts running on it. Yes. So for them, their target is the advert. And what brings the advertiser is your content. So they reward you for their economic gain against your work that you've created. So the end game in digital is access through licensing. And that's why we encourage people to join collective management organizations, because it's very hard for each individual to come and claim from the user. So, but the collecting society gathers all the people in that particular sector who, for example, if it's videos, all people in the audiovisual industry should have one collecting society of some sort, that if they come to NTV, they do a licensing, a general licensing. So for their members, for example. So if you have a huge cluster of repertoire, which includes, say, all the musicians, all the film stars, NTV will pay a certain chunk of money, which you will designate for a particular class, depending also on viewership, because there are those people who could be your members, but they have one video. They can't get the same as someone who has 10 videos and they have over 1 million views per video. So the collecting society, what it does is it collects all the work and gives it to one person to avoid the options of per person coming to you. The user gets very tired. So it is a random, it's a random licensing to save time and also to give the bargaining, the society has the bargaining power for both the user and the creator.
Like a trade union of sorts.
Yes, but the role is simply to collect and distribute, among other things, like including guiding the industry, for example, and also creating what we call the agreements. The creative industry has lost a lot in these agreements. I was explaining earlier that, you see, someone writes a song, for example, the songwriter, Nis Henry.
Yes.
And then Juliana wants to sing that song. So she pays Nis Henry out. But now she has bought him out. And then she goes to Pademan and says, Pademan, I need this song done. I need the music. So she pays him out as well. So she's literally the composer, she is the performer, and she is the producer. Whereby, ordinarily, Nis Henry should retain the right as a composer or as an author, because it is his work.
But he sold the right.
That's what I'm saying, that there are some rights you should not sell. You can sell the performance and the production. Though in copyright, there are two rights, economic and moral. Okay? So if I sell the economic, I retain the moral. That's whenever you say you're performing this song, I, as the composer, I have to be accredited as the composer or author of that song. Moral rights are not sold out whatsoever in all cases. It's actually against the law to sell out your moral right.
So what, in that case, what would the moral right be?
The moral right is that song is written by Nis Henry.
Yeah, you acknowledge written by, but you've heard of songs. A song that comes to mind is I Think I Will Always Love You. I think Dolly Parton. I don't know if I think she wrote it, but it has been attributed to Whitney Houston ever since.
Yeah, because I don't think whenever they are speaking about that song, they will say it was first performed by and later by. There's a chronology.
Oh, so just acknowledging who wrote it. So even in Juliana's case, you can just say
if there was a total buyout.
But these cases, we have had them. I remember there's also another huge case of Michael Jackson and the Beatles buying rights to all their music, and you know, I guess it's you can't sell, but they just acknowledge you, even if you don't earn from it.
Okay, the moral right, you don't earn anything from being attributed.
It's just acknowledgement.
As the creator or author of our work. It's just acknowledging that you are the one who wrote that song. That's why, even for works in the public domain, now a new term for our viewers, just to say that copyright in the case of Uganda is protected for the life of the author plus 50 years after death. In the case of joint authors, it's 50 years after death of
both
the last author to die. Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, that work reverts to the public domain. Not protect. The economic rights are not protected. But the point I'm making, even for works that have been in the public domain for long, like Shakespeare's work, when you say, when you say something that Shakespeare said, you tell the public that this was Shakespeare who said so. So the right of attribution, the moral right, does not die with the end of protection or the death of the author.
Okay. How can we get permission for international works?
There are many ways. Actually, I wanted to...
Do we need permission?
We do, yeah.
Of course you do.
For works online, normally, because you ask the question, can I just use a video or a book, just to download it off the internet and just use it? It's important that as a user, you take time to read the licenses. The user licenses. Yeah, there are user licenses for each of the works online, and those user licenses spell out what you can do and what you cannot do with the work. Also in connection with the question of how you can get clearances for permissions to reuse the work for whatever you want to, the user licenses normally have that information on what you need to do. Some of the licenses will spell out things that you are not supposed to do. That doesn't mean that you can't do them. You only need to get authorization from the owner of the work to be able to use the work for that purpose. In some cases, you have to go to a collective management organization, like Norman said, to get clearance.
Okay, but how can the organizations, are they actually there in Uganda?
Yes. In Uganda, we have three. Mr. Batambuze runs one, the one for books. There's another one for the film, and there's Uganda Performing Rights Society for the music authors. So what happens with these societies is that upon their formation, they enter into reciprocal arrangements with the similar society in a different country. So if Uganda Performing Rights Society enters a reciprocal agreement with the Music Copyright Society of Kenya, that means all the members of the MCSK Kenya in that organization will have an understanding with the Ugandans in the UPRS. Literally, in terms of the membership clauses, always permit the society or assign certain rights to the society which they exchange with another. For example, if UPRS found a song, a Kenyan song, which the author or performer belongs to MCSK, then UPRS in Uganda can take action against the infringing party on behalf of MCSK at its cost. Then eventually, whatever comes out, they have their sharing arrangements of what will go back to the actual owner of the song. Like he was saying, that there are rights which are which come, the economic rights in these works. One, there is reproduction. Those are exclusive rights that the author or producer can give to the society. Reproduction, synchronization, public performance, and video on demand and streaming, among others. So the right that many collecting societies exploit is public performance or communication to the public, by communicating that work to the public in bars, in restaurants, in hotels. You know, that is that right which is the authors cannot actually come and give out personally. You know,
but that's okay. It should be okay.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you cannot do it individually. That's why they need the collecting society to do it on their behalf. It's actual one licensing. For example, UPRS, if it has an agreement with you, ordinarily you should play all Kenyan songs and videos here if they have that understanding with MCSK. You don't need to go to MCSK
to get permission.
Yes. For example, UB40 songs here are managed under the repertoire of UPRS. For me to play a UB40 song, I don't need to go to England. I go to UPRS and get permission.
But would that even, you mentioned bars and hotels, would that even mean, does that include them?
Exactly. Anyone who is using a work that he has not created and does not...
That's too much.
But that's what the law says. I mean, you see, we'll look at the law as well. For example, in the law, they provide for fair use, that if I'm using the work for myself, it's okay. I mean, I don't have to pay. But if everybody is using work for himself, what is the benefit? That's why in modern countries like Kenya and others as well, in this intellectual property, have developed something called private copying levy, PCL. This PCL is charged on the gadgets used for private copying, phones, USB, flash, computers, TVs, because they are the devices that you're using to enjoy my work privately. So the levy is put onto the gadget. It hasn't yet come here, but I believe URSB is listening and they will take interest in it because other people are using it. There is no way the creative economy is going to continue if you're not rewarding the artists. Technically, they will stop producing because they have no reason to keep producing. The returns are very bad. So they need to be rewarded.
Well, if you're just joining us, we are speaking to Norman, who is actually a lawyer for international property rights. This day has been set aside by the UN to recognize World Intellectual Property. Still back to this issue. If someone buys the original CD, if you're a DJ and you buy an original CD, do you still have to keep on paying every time you use it? I know you talked about reasonable usage, but it's your job as a DJ.
You bought for private use. You didn't buy. You don't have the right to communicate to the public. That's a different right.
Oh my goodness. So in the US, do DJs have that? They have to keep on...
The thing is, what we call economic rights under copyright, those are the rights that are exchanged for money. And the purpose of copyright law or intellectual property law is reward for the creators, and you know that reward is an incentive for somebody to create more. Just like you work for NTV and they pay you a salary as an incentive for you to continue coming back again and again. So likewise for authors of music, books and so on, their reward is a royalty. So the different economic rights, there are many. There's publishing, distribution, exhibition, so many, and all of them can be converted into money. And for the DJ that is buying a CD to play, they need a license. So it's not that every time they have to pay for it. They pay one-off fee for a year, and they are given a license that gives them the authorization to actually perform this work in the public.
Okay.
Otherwise, without the authorization, you're infringing the copyright of the author.
But you also have a DJ here.
Yes.
So your DJ doesn't pay, but NTV pays.
Yes.
So the hotel or the disco night place will pay for you to have that sort of music played in. The license is given to the venue. Okay? I think you've seen a situation where somebody, the sound agency at a wedding where the machinery is being confiscated because they do not have a license to communicate the music they possess to the public.
I'd actually never seen it.
Yes, but it has happened.
So if you have to make sure you get a licensed DJ.
No. The company. Yes,
okay.
Will get a license to communicate to the public the music in their possession.
This is unbelievable. As you say that, I'm beginning to think that most Ugandans have broken the law in one way or the other. I do know we love paraded things, and law enforcement has kind of been weak in this area. But what can we do as Ugandans to help others, you know, put value to this intellectual creativity?
There has been, maybe Charles will expand this further, there has been, some people have created something called the 3 E's. Educate people, that you see someone took time to create this work, he invested this money, and if you were in his shoes, you'd also want to a return. So after educating the rights, educate them of the commercial viability. That's the second E. Now tell them ideally you should be paying this to enjoy this. So that now the third E, when all these two are failing, you go to enforcement. And the good thing about the enforcement part of it, that in Uganda now, infringement, especially in the Copyright Act now, is criminal. You can be imprisoned for infringing on someone's copyright. That was one of the major achievements of the 2006 Act and the 2010 regulations. They introduced a criminal aspect of infringement on copyright, which is very good for, because now, besides opening up a civil matter, we can go criminal if you like. Then the criminal will help you in the civil or commercial for that matter.
Okay, and what would you like to add?
I think it's important that creators or people on copyright work together to start with. They need to join the different collective management organizations, because these are organizations set up under the copyright law to help in educating, the first E, also to help in enforcement, but also to help in ensuring that people get economic value for their works. We are coming from a situation where, for example, in the case of music or books, authors knew that the only way they can generate money from their works is by selling a physical copy
of the book.
Most people don't know that actually there are other rights that they can exploit and actually make money. For instance, the right of translation, and the many adaptation, the many other rights. So it's important that the creators, as a starting point, join the different collective management organizations, so that the 3 E's that you mentioned can be executed well. Secondly, for the users to understand that these works mean life for some people, and it is important to reward or remunerate the people who created the works, so that we don't have instances of saying, you know, this musician was a celeb, but is very broke.
Okay, we have to end it there, unfortunately. And just to remind you about Reimagined, a global online storytelling contest inviting you as a writer, poet, playwright, and journalist to reinvent and update the African folklore. The contest is now open, and you can find all that online. Reimagined 2016. Thank you, Charles, and thank you, Norman, for sharing with us on this day. Any final words as a lawyer to
in this aspect of intellectual property? Well, my advice or word on that is it differs a little bit from what I would have said as a lawyer, but what I can say is that as a participant in this industry of creative economy, is people need to appreciate the works of others. This creative economy is not Katemba per se. People are really taking time. People are studying this film. People are going to study music. So they are investing a lot of their time, and it becomes very bad for people to blatantly take away their economic rights. The law is there, but also it will not really come to be seen if we don't take time to sensitize the entire public about rights and the owners of rights as well as the users.
Okay.
So this is a collective effort whereby people have to come together and understand this is in Nigeria and other countries. This is one of the biggest economies or contributors to the GDP.
Okay, and I'm being reminded that Reimagine 2016, the applications are, it's an online entry form, and the applications have to be made in English.
Tell them the website. The website for that.
The website, I reimagined. Sport is up next.
Okay.
Start time. Owakabiwo mu digital TV. For more information, call 117-117-700. Start time. Affordable digital television.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
This is you. Your friends. Your family. Your fellow Ugandans. All are rising. Because when people get information that is incisive, in-depth, and analytical, people take action. People create change. NTV News. Moving Uganda.
You can now become an exclusive MTV reporter on the go. With the NTV Go mobile app, you can create news by capturing and sharing content instantly. Simply download the NTV Go app on Google Play Store. Go to the N Reporter feature and start reporting as the news happens. We will air your story on a special TV program. NTV Go also allows you to watch news, instant live updates, and follow your favorite show from the comfort of your home, taxi, or your favorite kafunda. Download NTV Go app now from Play Store.
I'm loving your love, baby. I got a weakness for sweetness. I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy that can't get enough from me. You're a ghost. This can't be. Ooh la la la. It's the way that we rock when we doing our thing. Ooh la la la. It's the natural law that the refugees bring. Ooh la 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 la.
Government yandibadde eyamba abantu ba wansi buli weyongeza ekintu baba nene tebalumwa era tebalina kye bafiirwa ne tugenda kati ke bayongeza amafuta tubadde twalira 10 tugenda twalira 200
funa amafuta aneno mu Uganda nenze kyensaba ng'omuntu wa wansi nsaba nti amafuta bandibadde bagasala ebbeeyi kubanga olwedde mu Uganda kiba nti amafuta mwegali bandigasaze ebbeeyi n'omuntu wa wansi n'abandibadde nga talina ngeri ya transport abasobola okukozesa transport kuba nti amafuta gali ku bbeeyi ya wansi.
Advocates Coalition for Development and Environment Accord, in partnership with Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, are organizing the 6th annual high-level policy dialogue on the budget at Protea Hotel, Kampala, under the theme, Global Economic Outlook and its Implications for Growth of Uganda's Economy. Join us for a live broadcast of the dialogue on Tuesday, 26th April at 2:30 p.m.
We always dress up for the party or event. Style is everything, but it's the detail that makes you stand out. Look, watch, and borrow. This outfit is so painful. It's already too bright.
Oh my God, I'm not gonna wear that.
Some people would say this is color blocking, but at times, we don't get it right. This was not a dress for you.
But the shoes do not match.
Avoid the tight shorts. That's why we're here.
I mean, you look at her in that picture. It's like, she's like, hi, peasants.
I'll date him tomorrow. I was like,
yellow, yellow, yellow. She's still in yellow. I mean, we need to see a change.
This is your #1 show, The Style Project, every Friday at 7:30 p.m.
brave woman.
Is this for me, Dad?
You will wear it.
No.
You will wear it. You look
No,
beautiful.
Dad,
You
I
look
will
beautiful.
not
Just
wear
it,
this.
Aisha. You'll wear
Dad,
it.
look
It's
at
all
the
right.
size
I want
of
you
this.
to wear that when you go to Moro de Alemão.
No.
Okay.
Livia, Theo will not stop talking to you. But I want you to stop talking to him. I might lose him because of Erica, but I will not lose him because of you. I'm gonna play it safe and put an end to that.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Record league winners SC Villa have won the double twice. I mean 5 times in their career since they were established. KCCA surprisingly have not won any since their establishment in 1963. Joining me to discuss the league, the UPL and the women's T20 qualifier is Darren Allen. Welcome to Morning at NTV Sport. I'm Derek Ntege. Welcome to the show, Darren.
Thank you. Morning, Derek.
Well, it might come as a surprise that KCCA have never won the league double, but they look on course to do it this season. Of course, that's after having progressed to the semi-finals of the Uganda Cup on Sunday.
Certainly, because if you're to begin with the Uganda Cup, they made it to the 3rd successive semi-final, the Uganda Cup. When you get to the league, they are now trying to get another title, like you've mentioned, and the gap is still 9 points between those two teams, that is Vipers, who are in 2nd place, as well as KCCA. KCCA on 52 points and Vipers on 41, although KCCA has played 2 more games than Vipers. So it means with Vipers having 7 games left and KCCA has 5 games left, anything can happen should KCCA continue to falter, because they are coming from, they face the side that is Simba in Bombo. On the back of that loss, 2-1 loss to the Saints when they lost at Nachivu in their previous game that they did play, although they managed to return to winning ways. That winner for Paul Muchores in the Uganda Cup that helped KCCA get into the semi-finals. And now on the other side, Vipers do also face another struggling side in the league that they do host in Buikwe, that is Sports Club Victoria University, who have shipped in probably who have shipped in clearly most number of goals across the season, because they've taken in 45. And if you compare Simba and Sports Club Victoria University, you probably find Victoria University is an easy opponent to beat. And that means Vipers can close the gap to 6 points should KCCA lose to Simba. Simba also want to try and survive relegation. And that's probably the gist of this afternoon today, when those games do come up. But you probably think the pressure that toes down to the KCCA players and probably the coach Mike Mutebi when they're at Nachivo probably fades away when they get away from home, because the last 2 games they've lost in the league have all been at home. To Bull, 1-0, as well as
the Saints.
The Saints, 2-1 still at Nachivo. Now when they go where they can afford to probably have the luxury, probably the mentality changes, eventually they come up victors, they come out of victors in such games that they do play. And I probably think that's what should turn out for them today, because 3 days from now, they'll be facing each other again at Nachivubo. That's KCCA hosting Vipers, which many people think should have been the title decider had probably Vipers played those 2 games they do have in hand, and then the gap is to 3 points or so, something like that. And you probably see it in the title frame. Right now, the image is blurred. Because of the gap, 9 points, and then one team has played 2 more games than the other. But same story for Vipers on the other side, because they're also coming from, they've just lost their recent game against Bull when they lost 1-0. That goal by Yunus Siriba that he did score. And now Vipers also have to get back to winning ways. Same story for KCCA before they face each other on Friday.
Nachivubo, it will be a Sevilla against Lueza. But yesterday, you wrote off Uganda's chances of qualifying for the T20 World Cup, the women's, after they lost. I don't know, they had one win in about 4 games. Today, they take on Zimbabwe. They've already inflicted defeat on them. Do you see another defeat coming?
The only chance Uganda does have is probably if maybe Zimbabwe doesn't go on to win both of their games that they do have to play, and that includes one against Uganda. The other should be against Kenya early this morning in Harare, as the round robin phase does get done, does wind up. And when Uganda lost 3 of the first 4 games, with 2 games left, well, mathematically it's quite difficult. You know, you're probably going to hope for luck from almost every single game, for every result going to your favor, for you to manage and qualify, because there's only one slot to the ICC Global World Cup qualifier, like I'd explained yesterday, where Uganda needs to win both of their games. Probably that will make it 3 wins, 3 losses in 6 games. But Zimbabwe itself has already won 4 games. So literally there is no chance that Uganda does have, even if they beat Zimbabwe today, as well as Tanzania early this morning. So for now, it's like they're going to play 2 dead rubbers, eventually pack their bags and be in Kampala by tomorrow. And that has been the sad story for cricket in Uganda, especially ladies cricket, because for the men, maybe they do have the luxury of probably playing a tournament here. You have an ICC World Cricket League Division 3 tournament you're going to play. You have the T20 tournament for Africa, where Uganda usually qualifies. Of course, last year they didn't qualify. When the tournament was in South Africa, Uganda didn't qualify. But you have, at least for the men, you have a 2020, then you have the limited overs version, or the 50 over version, where you can take part in those different tournaments. For the women, it's only 2020. If you don't plan to get to the next stage, you're going to shut out all the other chances that you do have. And that's the story for the team that's coached by, that's tutored by Jonathan Sebanja, as well as Grace Mutiagaba down in Harare. Probably they can now afford to maybe dilly-dally in the swimming pools at the hotel where they do stay.
That's a good one. Now, you talked about the sad story of cricket in Uganda, but it wasn't sad when Samuel Lusimbi was still playing. This is in the 60s. He's 68 now. I was having a little chit-chat with him at Lugogo. He's always there. And he did tell me that once upon a time, he made it in an all-white and Indian team, East African Challenge. That's how good he was. Samuel Lusimbi, and of course, USPA is going to remember him when he's still alive. Not like the rest of sports personalities and other big personalities in Uganda.
And that's the thing you've probably got to credit Uganda Sports Players Association for the umpteenth year. It's easier to get medals at the Olympics, but World Boxing Championships, it's very difficult. Look at the other former athletes who have taken that award, like Professor Era Mugisha, who served really to a greater standard in sports administration, especially under NUSUF, the body that takes care of sports in universities, and all these others. Now Samuel Lusimbi joins that cast that includes Kezekaya Musise Gwanga, the gentleman who formed the present-day SECAFA, one of those people who were there at the time, who was FUFA president in the 1970s, who is credited so much for having put a keen eye onto youth football at the time, and that's the list that Samuel Lusimbi does join. What did he do? He's one of the only 2 Ugandans who have taken part at the Cricket World Cup. In 1975 in England, he was in that team that we've talked about, the East African side, and there were the only 2 black players who were there. Him and I think the present-day senior presidential advisor on media, that is John Nagenda, who took part in the World Cup in 1975, where he managed to play, I think, about 3 games. There is no other Ugandan who has taken part at the World Cup. Reason being, Uganda can't qualify to make it to the World Cup, and the structure of making it to the World Cup has changed quite a lot. From the 70s, there's now what they call ICC full members, and then there are the ICC associates, and then there are the ICC affiliates. So for an associate and affiliate to make it to the World Cup, the channel is probably a lot tough. It's why you see the Lady Cricket Cranes are in Zimbabwe. One team qualifies out of 4. That's the route that you have to take to qualify for the World Cup. It's why probably so many other players who have come after Samuel Lusimbi can retire without playing at the World Cup. Of course, not forgetting the Under-19 World Cup where Uganda took part in 2005 and 2006. And of course, that generation has also faded away today. But the main World Cup, 1975 in England, Samuel Lusimbi, present-day coach for the Wanderers cricket.
And a quick one, why is it that we don't have people like Samuel Lusimbi going into an agenda into sports administration? Maybe they can revamp the entire sport sector in Uganda and to take it back to what it was during their playing days.
I think the thing is, as a country, we do not have the sports culture. It's not a vibrant sports culture. It's why a parent will ask a parent today, it's easier for a parent today to get to the school to pick their sons and daughters at 4 p.m. Yet on the timetable, it probably says the kids have to play until 6 p.m. But you know why the parent is picking the kids at 4 p.m.? They want to avoid jam and get home. So when will the kids play? Today there are schools being set up via kids where there is no space for kids to play. And that's the sports culture that we don't have as a country. Now when you look at the former athletes who have been there, who probably got the luxury to play under the time where everyone else says there was a sports culture in the 1970s during Idi Amin Dada's reign, where the Uganda managed to bring in so many medals, where he would tell medals during the where he would tell boxers during the flag off that please, if you do not, if you see the opponent is so tough in the ring, please just have a knockout so that the referees do not have any chance of giving the result, turning the result the other way around against you. Now today those things are not there. Secondly, the levels of infrastructure. Even if Samuel Lusimbi moves up to the ranks of Uganda Cricket Association, where he's served as coach for the national team, as well as Wanderers Cricket Club that he's coached since 1984, that should be 32 years today. He's still coaching the same club. There are limitations to him because of the structures, the culture itself for the country. You're not going to have so many cricket players like they were at the time. Today it's very difficult to keep Derek in a cricket club. When another club starts up and has money, of course Samuel Lusimbi will lose the players, and those are the challenges he faces today as an individual. Now if he faces challenges at the individual level, what about if he gets to the bigger level at that stance? So it goes back to one thing: we do not have a sports culture. Sports culture where they will say, Derek is 18, he knows how to play probably tennis, rugby, football, badminton, cricket or chess, and has to choose about 2 sports to do. It's no longer there.
All right, now moving on to the EPL last night, 1-1. That game between West Brom and Spurs, it's a result many did not see coming. And we've been talking about guard of honors since last week in relation to Cobs and Heathens. But how about Claudio Ranieri getting one from his former side Chelsea? I think that's their last game of the season. Do you see it coming? Do you see them getting the 3 points this Saturday against United? Because if they do get them, they're champions.
Because of Tottenham Hotspur last night, they didn't present their winning culture. After beating Stoke City 4-0 the previous Monday night, last night they actually couldn't score because they only helped to score by that own goal by Craig Dawson in the first half. Eventually Craig Dawson getting on the other end in the second half and getting the equalizer via header from a corner, as West Bromwich Albion ensured Spurs now only have to dream of a Premier League title race. It's no longer in their hands. They only have to pray Leicester City drop points and they also win their games. 3 games to go. Points now separate both sides. I do think Leicester City are champions. Probably we should be here next week on Monday and both should be clad in blue. Because I think Leicester City will be champions. I don't think they will have to do a lot at Old Trafford. I think they're already champions. Why? 3 games to go and the gap is of 7 points, where Spurs do have to face Chelsea at Stamford Bridge as Leicester at Old Trafford. Now anything can happen there. Probably that's null and void. And the only thing Spurs can do right now is probably prolong Leicester City's wait. They can't take the title, they can only prolong their wait to begin the celebrations at King Power and Leicester City. Right now, I do think Leicester City do have their first Premier League title after that stalemate there.
Of course, Hazard and I think Fabregas have gone on to vow that they'll do anything in their powers to make sure.
Now that is already there. Although I think for Leicester City's script to be that perfect, you need to win at Old Trafford. When you win at Old Trafford, you've confirmed the Premier League title and received the title at Stamford Bridge. There is nothing probably sweeter than that for Claudio Ranieri himself, first of all, as well as Leicester City, that has played under immense pressure across this entire season. I do think they are deserved champions, honestly. Like many people have said in England, that Spurs probably wanted to steal the Premier League, the Leicester City's title, and then there is this framing that Leicester City are the people's champions. I don't know. They are the people's champions. Such statements there. But I do think after that draw there, the work is done for Spurs. They'll probably be in the Champions League next season, but you feel for them, they had chances there. Dele Alli setting up Harry Kane, whose shot was saved by Boaz Mahil. Then they hit the woodwork. I think Eric Lamela at some stage. They had those chances, but eventually, I think this script was written for Leicester City. It was written in blue ink. Spurs wanted to turn the ink into black, and it couldn't happen. The ink had already dried. I think Leicester City are the Premier League champions. I can guarantee you on that, unless there is a spectacular collapse in these remaining 3 games where Leicester City will probably lose at Old Trafford, lose against Everton, and lose against Chelsea. I don't see that happening. Leicester City are champions in Offi.
Still talking about champions, Juventus were last night crowned champions. This after losing 3 of their best players at the beginning of the season. That's Tevez, Vidal, and Pirlo, and Pirlo. 5th title in as many years. They've had a decent Champions League run last season. Ejected 16 with the last of the game, as their coach put it, at the hands of Bayern Munich. Do you see them becoming a force in the early 2000s?
They're only forced to reckon in the Syria, and that's the sad bit about the Italian Serie A. Of course, last night after Napoli lost to AS Roma by a goal to 0, that meant Juventus were the champions for the Scudetto, because over the weekend they managed to beat Fiorentina 2-1. Mario Mandzukic getting the winner there, as well as second Grand the day. So that means the gap grew to 9 points, I think, with 2 games left. Now there's no way Napoli can catch up on Juventus. But this, unlike the past 4 seasons, this is a season where Juventus has done a lot of hard work to win this title. If you remember, in the first round, Juventus were 10 points behind the leaders. I think at the time they were, I think it was Inter Milan at the time. 10 points behind the leaders. Then they went on and won about 14 of the past 15 games to stay at the top. They've had all these different match winners. Every weekend you're having a different match winner. Pablo Dybala, Paul Pogba. You're having all these other players coming from the middle. Simon Zaza at the front. You're having Claudio Machizio having an E14 there, although he's not had much contribution this season. And that's how they've managed to rack up the 5th successive Scudetto. And the owners should go back to them. What can they do in the UEFA Champions League? Because last season they made it to the final, they lost. This season they couldn't make it to the quarter-final stage, largely because of a Thomas Muller goal in the 90th minute that forced extra time at the Allianz Arena. And now you've got to think about next season. What's there to do? I think now Juventus don't have much worries about the Scudetto. Same story for PSG. Most of the work they need to do now, they need to affirm their status in the UEFA Champions League. That's those big ears. If they land those big ears in these years, probably they'll say it's one of the greatest clubs in history. Probably they've had an era of dominance, and eventually that has yielded the UEFA Champions League. And certainly, Inter Milan beating Napoli the other weekend, 2-0, where Napoli did absolutely nothing, although they managed to beat Bologna 6-0 at the start of last week, and also that loss to AS Roma last night. That means Juventus are the champions for the Scudetto, but there is nothing really much to celebrate. Why? This delight has been there for the past 4 years, so if you do it again, maybe it's more of the same, if I'm to borrow such a statement.
Of course, Champions League action is back. The road to Milan. Man City against Real Madrid. Ronaldo is back. There was rumor that he won't be playing, but I think he's been confirmed he'll play against City. City have, they can get the goals from De Bruyne on the counter and Sergio Aguero on the other side. On the other hand, Real Madrid too are dangerous side with the BBC. End-to-end action tonight at the Etihad?
I think so. One, if you look at the semi-final lineups, Atletico Madrid against Bayern Munich, Manchester City against Real Madrid, you look at both games, and on paper, if you're to go with pedigree, it's one final you see, Real Madrid against Bayern Munich. But I can guarantee you that won't be the final. I don't think that will be the final. Okay. I don't think that will be the final.
So you think it will be Real against Atletico?
I think the final probably, if I'm to project, should be between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid or Man City. One of the two can probably make it here. Now, for City to make the final, they need to take advantage of the first leg. Why? All these teams that I fear for, that is Atletico Madrid and Manchester City, the second legs are away from home. You find Atletico Madrid hosts Bayern Munich tomorrow first, then travel away from home, then travel and go away from home. The reason why teams like Barcelona get eliminated in some of these past seasons is because they haven't had the second legs at home. And the second leg is very important. It is so crucial. If you remember the previous round, Barcelona were eliminated because the second leg was at the Vicente Calderón. Same story here, City are facing. They are hosting Madrid first. Same thing Wolfsburg did. They won 2-0. That wasn't enough. Now what could be enough for Man City? That's why you've got to worry, although all these players are returning, like looks like Yaya Toure is likely to start the game. That means Manuel Pellegrini could have 3 buses in the middle. That is Fernando, Fernandinho and Yaya Toure. You're having 3 pillars in the middle. Then probably have players who would love to have the ball. That is David Silva, Sergio Aguero, as well as Kevin De Bruyne, who is now the engine for the side at the moment. Although Sergio Aguero is still churning out the goals at this stage. That is what City do have in Offie. They only know they have the advantage in the first leg here. They've got to defend really well. Vise Kompany is back. I don't know how fit he is. Manuel Pellegrini could probably be rushing him. I will wait and see that later on tonight. But City know it very, very well. They only have to win this game. Next week, everything will turn out to be different. Ronaldo will be much fitter. He's returning. Today, he didn't play against Rayo Vallecano in that 3-2 win where Gareth Bale managed to score 2 goals. And now, if Man City wins the midfield battle, I think Madrid won't get enough space. They won't get the ball. They won't see the ball, especially in those counter-attack moments that they do often get, where they have to leave the ball with the other team and then the team comes at them. If City defend if City do the stuff they did against PSG, I think they'll be punished. Such back passes, giving out penalties, I think they'll be punished at that stage. And should Madrid score, I feel for City in the second leg. So City know it very well. A 2-0 victory here gives them advantage because I think they can defend a lot better than Wolfsburg did at the Bernabeu. That is the story here for Manchester City. The first leg is the most important one. I'll repeat this for Atletico Madrid tomorrow. The first leg is the most important one. If you don't have the second leg at home and you're facing Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena or Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu, it's going to be quite a story for them. But like this is Madrid's 6th straight semi-final. Trying to chase a final, I think.
And chasing the 11th one.
Yeah, and chasing the 11th title after having gotten the La Decima the other season 2 years ago. That is the story there. But I think City, the first leg is the most important one for them. There's nothing bigger than that, I think, for City. And Manuel Pellegrini knows it very well. They don't stand a huge chance at the Bernabeu next week.
Thank you, Darren. Now, Spurs may not win the league this season, but they can take positives out of this one, back in the Champions League and maybe, just maybe, finishing above Arsenal. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. Have a good morning.
NTV is giving you an opportunity to get discovered. Be the next big screen star. Are you an actor or an actress or have dreams to become one? Well, here is the biggest chance to fulfill that dream. Take a picture of yourself and tell us what makes you stand out. Then #discover me on any of our social media pages. We are watching and we want to discover you. NTV is giving you an opportunity to get discovered. Be the next big screen star. Are you an actor or an actress or have dreams to become one? Well, here is the biggest chance to fulfill that dream. Take a picture of yourself and tell us what makes you stand out. Then #discover me on any of our social media pages. We are watching and we want to discover you.
Does your skin get so dry it feels like it's cracking? Now with micro droplets of Vaseline jelly. Vaseline lotion deeply moisturizes dry skin and keeps skin smooth and restored for 3 times longer. That's the healing power of Vaseline.
We all long for a good home and a good working environment. We all long for a quality lifestyle, interior designing, and eco-friendly environment. Everyone has a longing for reliable construction material and a good plan to achieve this. Find this entire experience at the Property Expo. Free entry registration. Come get new inspiration for a quality lifestyle
at the UAP Business Park starting Thursday the 5th to 7th of May 2016 from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m.
Mwasuza Mutia is brought to you by
Radiant. Feel yourself.
and Finance Trust Bank, the bank that understands women's financial needs.
Zanyo ku program mwasuza mutia ku lunaku luno Lwabiri omwezi ogwa April akakuba kabadde kayitirivu era bekacyankalanyiza kabacyankalanyiza naye tandika okusituka obadde olinda kaceeka natera okukya ogende ate onoonye ekinagulira amagala eddiba. Nze Farida Nakazibwe ababuuzaako tubatumidde nnyo yonna gye musinzira okulaba program yaffe. Era Olwakubiri tubeera na byabulamu ndine Dr. Neema Nasolo omusawo w'abakyala. Temuvaawo. Dr. Neema Nasolo yatuuse dda tugenda kwogera ku nsonga ya kujjamu mbuto. Tuze twogera ne Dr. Spire Kigundu ku bimu ku bituviirako obutazaala, okulwawo, okuzaala n'ensonga zonna ezikwata ku kuzaala. Era bimu ku bye baatugamba mubaddemu endwadde ezizibikira enseke okukkakkana nga tokyasobola kufuna lubuto. Yes, leo tugenda kwogera ku kujjamu embuto. Abakugu bagamba nti actually kiri dangerous oba kyabulabe oluusi n'okusinga okusindika omwana kwennyini. Dr. Neema Nasolo tukwaniriza nnyo nyabo.
Nyanza nnyo nyabo okunyaniriza ku NTV omulundi guno
ogwokuna
akabanga era n'okumpa omukisa okugira ku nsonga eyenkulu ennyo ekwata ku bakyala bamaama n'obulamu bwabwe n'embuto. Lwaki tulowooza nti nno obulabe bw'amaanyi obuva mu kuggyamu olubuto okusinga okuzaala omwana. Njagala ntwala omukisa guno okubuuza ku batulaba. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ng'erinnya lya program mwasuze mutya eyo bannaffe, mwebale nnyo mwebale ddala kwekuumira ku NTV. Mwasuze mutya program ey'obulamu eno olumanya nti buli lwakubiri nja kuteekako mpulira abasawo kye boogera ku by'obulamu. Tukweyanza nnyo webale kwayo kadde kano.
Okay, okuggyamu embuto tulina statistics zazifunye bulungi naye nga bagamba nti abantu abaggyamu embuto bayitirivu. Weewaawo ate waliwo n'abazigirayo mu kutusiroozamu ezo statistics bazifuna naye nga bo bangi ddala. Tetugenda kwogera ku legal bit of it kubanga ebyo birina ababikolako era bakyalina obuzibu bungi oteekawo oba kulongoosa mu tteeka eryo. Yes, tugenda kwogera ku dangers obulabe obuli mu kintu kino, process ebeera etya era lwaki wanditanidde ekyokusinga. Lwaki omuntu asalawo okukola ekyo ate n'aleka oba olyawo kibi. Twaze twogera ku nkola y'ekizaala ggumba. Abantu abasinga bajjamu embuto because tebazaagala. So nga ate enkola nazo tuzze tuzisomesaako. Osobola okukola bw'oti okwewala olubuto. Naye abamu nga bwe twagamba batya twagamba batya embuto naate bamala ne bazifuna. Batya embuto okusinga sirimu. Bamala ne bazifuna ate ne bazijjamu. Weewaawo si buli ajjamu olubuto nti aluggyamu obubi. Yes, waliwo decisions ezikolebwa abasawo. Dr. Musalirawo ki omusinzira ku kyokusalawo nti tufuna abortion ku mulwadde ono?
Ensonga tuzirina nnyingi era n'omukisa gw'amaanyi okutula wano okunnyonnyola ensonga eno kubanga okusookera ddala nina okutangaaza mu kigambo abortion ekyo kuba emirundi mingi kindeetedde ebizibu wakati w'omwami n'omukyala nga tuwandiise ntono abortion netugiwa erinnya nga bwebeeri. Abaami basooka ekigambo kimu wajjemu olubuto.
Omwana wange wamusa
wajjemu mwana
mutemu bakutuma mutemu.
Ati njagala ntwala omukisa guno nga sinaba kweyongera mu maaso okumatiza abantu okunnyonnyola abantu nti ekigambo abortion nga gwe boogala okugyamu embuto nga bwe kyogedde nti kuggyamu olubuto oluusi toluggyamu naye ffe embuto zonna lwojjeemu n'oluvuddemu lwokka ne tukuggyemu abasawo zonna tuzigatta wamu netugamba nti abortions.
Kasaba ng'omwana tazaalibwa.
Yes, era tulina ekiseera kye tugamba omwana bw'abanga avuddemu nga tannaweza myezi 7 28 weeks wano mu Uganda tugamba mu lulimi lw'ekisawo tugamba abortion.
Ne bwebanga miscarriage ebeera abortion.
Ekyo ekigambo kyanditegeezezza kye kimu neki n'abortion. Kakati tukaluubirizibwa abasawo engeri gye tunakinnyonnyola abantu okukitegeera kuba abantu balina ekigambo nti nno abortion kitegeeza kuggyamu lubuto
kugenda kwekweka n'olugyamu mu nkukutu.
Abortion kitegeeza embuto zonna ezivaamu ezivuddemu zokka zetuggyemu ffennyini abantu zebejjiddemu eyo naye nga teziwezezza myezi 8 zonna tuziyita abortions. Myezi 7 zonna tuziyita abortions. Kakati ne tukka wansi ne tuyongera emitendera. Ensonga eyo njiruddeko olw'ensonga nti tufunye obuzibu omukyala najja naga mwami yatabuse mwanteereddeko abortion naye ffe ate mu lulimi lwaffe olw'ekisawo tulina kukiwandiikanga ki abortion. Kati enjawulo eno gyegiramu oluvannyuma kati bwe tumala okugaa nti luno oluvuddemu ku myezi 5 omukyala yafunye abortion kati wansi ne twongerako yagyeyagalidde yalwejjiddemu lwavuddemu lwokka kati ne tuteekako self-induced abortion nti gwe walwejjiddemu wagenzeeyo mu kiriniki ne bakuggyamu olubuto awo ne tugamba we yalwejjiddemu tugamba spontaneous lwavuddemu lwokka
ye miscarriage.
Ekigambo kyennyini miscarriage sikirinako buzibu naye kitegeeza zonna ne bwoba olugyemu ezo ga miscarriage ekigambo ky'oluzungu miscarriage oli nakyo nafunye miscarriage naye ekintu ekisinga okutabula abantu kyekyokugamba nti nno
ekigambo twakibrandinga bubi abortion.
Yes, ne tukitwaka ku side eri ey'abali abajjamu obujja embuto naye ate nga ne zino ezivuddemu zokka era nazo tuziyita abortions. Kati ne tubeera ne zino nti nga bwe gamba induced olwejjiddemu luvuddemu lwokka ne twongera ne twawulamu kati tumala okwawulamu ate era netwongera netwawulamu nti luno oluvuddemu lwe tuggyemu obujja oli alwejjiddemu oba abasawo be bagize ki be balumuggyemu tibagambye kaluveemu olw'embeera gy'alimu oba mulwadde pressure zirinnye ziri waggulu ensonga ez'enjawulo oba omwana tali bulungi nga mulaba agenda vaamu tali bulungi you induce abasawo amateeka ago gatukkiririza okugira ki okuwa eddagala luveemu olw'ebizibu ebiba biruliko oba gwe obulamu bwo obuzibu bwe buba bulimu kati ne tubeera nga n'abo abavuddemu betuggyemu obujja mulimu ezivuddemu obuvi zokka ne mubeeramu n'abo abaziggyemu ne mubeeramu n'abasawo be bakoze eki be baziggyemu kati bonna balina biwanvu yes so kati ne tubeeramu n'ezivaamu nga nto nga teyaluggyemu spontaneous under spontaneous tulina zino ezivaamu myezi 3 egisooka mukazi wattu abadde anoonya olubuto emyaka mingi nyalufunye atandise kumakya kubuliidinga musayi gumuvaamu bamukebedde mu sikaani nti olubuto lwalinooneka terwakula naye abajja ne bamugamba olina blighted ovum ekitegeeza nti olubuto terwatandika wali fertilization tewali kyeyayongerayo okufuuka ki mwana olubuto olwo luba terujja kula ne bwe tulekamu emyaka gyonna kasita tuweze weeks 8 emyezi 2 nga bakebera olubuto terulaga nti wano omwana wana atandikira kiba kitegeeza lujja kola ki terujja kula kweyongerayo kati embuto bwezityo nazo zibeera nayo naye ebeera abortion kati wabeerawo noono omwana abadde akula n'atandika okukula n'okolako kasikaani myezi 2 kitundu nosanga omwana waakula ogenda okuddayo ku myezi 3 nti ate omwana yalekerawo dde okukula yafiiramu eyo naye abortion naye tugina erinnya lyayo nti Mr. Abortion ti olubuto lwali lugenda mu maaso ne lumala ne lukera tu ne lukomaawo eyo nayo eryawo ne tubeerawo emyezi gino egiddako ng'omaze 3 waliwo omubuto olinakeera n'agamba mbadde ndi awo amazzi ne ganvaamu nga talina kyakoze kyonna amazzi ne ganvaamu amazzi bwe gamuvuddemu natandika okulira nga olumuluma olubuto olumulumye aze mudwali mwayi nabaana yeggudde olubuto oluvaamu era ne luvaamu
nekyo ekiyinza okujjamu nabaana abeera ekiyinza okujjamu omwana ali mu second trimester
ekisinga obukulu mu egyo emyezi egyo ng'omaze gino 3 egisooka giri 3 egiddako kira kubeera kizibu kya nabaana ng'omuwa gwa nabaana munafu buli omwana weyongera okukula ayongera obuzito ku muwa gwa nabaana guno kyebiseera ebimu ekyo nekireetera okubeera nga gulemereddwa okukola ki okukwata olubuto olwe ne luyitamu buyisi ebiseera ebisinga bafunanga ebisa byennyini najja nga ebisa bimuluma olubuto olugira ki luvaamu olusaba n'emirimu egy'amaanyi ennyo okusitula ebintu ebizitowa kireetera olubuto olw'omumakati emyezi egy'omumakati okuvaamu n'omusujja tugenda netubagamba munange bonobeera n'omusujja nga togujjanjabye ojja kuvaamu olubuto it happens nafuna malaria nga mubi nnyo olubuto ne luvaamu abantu abalina ebizimba n'embuto jjukira olubuto oluba luyongedde ogejja n'ekizimba nga kyongedde okusindikiriza ku nabaana kuba nabaana ne bayongedde obuzito kati wekisindikiriza kuli ngeno wansi wagira ki omwana akkula
ate kino kye bagamba nti nabuguma gyekiri
ekyo kigambo kyannema okutegeera
ate omanyimu abasawo abazungu mumanyi okwebuzaabuza
naturally tekuba kwebuzaabuza naye kikulema okutegeera what they mean by nabuguma
nozebeera temperature yamubiri oba nga alina malaria temperature neyitirira
kakati bw'oba olowooza nti temperature bintu bingi ebireeta temperature infections ez'enjawulo zireeta temperature oyinza okubeera ne malaria paste temperature yo nerinnya naye ekindisooka nezi nga olyagamba mbu olubuto lubuguma kyekindema okutegeera naye nga obeera ofunye omusujja ogw'ekika ekyenjawulo infection yonna gyoba ofunye eyinza okuleetera okukolaki okutawanya omwana wo n'avaamu naye nabuguma ng'ekigambo kyo si kimanyi ebintu bingi nnyo kati waliwo n'abantu abamu nga balina abasirikale mu mubiri abajja ne balwanyisa olubuto kati abo osanga nga afunye embuto zivaamu conditions ezo zibeera mu basirikale b'omuntu balwanyisa olubuto lubeera nga balulaba ng'ekitalina kubaawo kati reaction eyo bwetandika osanga oli avuddemu embuto 3 agamba alina antiphospholipid syndrome
kati abo abasirikale musobola obalwanyisa
tutera okunoonyereza ne tulaba kiki balina ne tubawe ku ddagala okwendeeza ki reaction eyo naye kati ekizibu kye tusanga oli abeera embuto ziviiramu eyo nga tatuuka ki mu ddwaliro gye basobola kunoonyereza kintu ekyo bwe luvaamu n'agenda mu kiriniki okumpi ne luvaamu n'agenda mu kiriniki okumpi naye ate nga tugamba omuntu bw'ovaamu embuto 3 okweyongera waggulu waliwo ekigambo kye tukozesa nti habitual. We call you have habitual abortions. Embuto ezivaamu nga ziddiringana. Weetaaga obujjanjabi okulaba ki ekiviirako ki embuto ezo zonna okuvaamu. Ate oluusi ne ziviiramu mu kaseera keekamu. Osanga olinga emyezi 3 egisooka yakavaamu 3. Olina omusanga ye myezi egyebiri 3 egiddako n'avaamu olwa weeks 20, myezi 5, oluddako n'avaamu olw'emyezi 4. Ogenda okugera n'avaamu olw'emyezi 3 ekitundu. Oyo obeera oyagala omulabe, abasawo bamulabe bamusalire ku magezi. Oluusi osanga ayina kati abwe batera kuba na kizibu kya n'abaana nga nnafu. Omumwa gwa n'abaana gwetaaga okuyambako okwetikka olubuto. Ate bali osanga balina ekizibu ky'okuba nti ki balina abasirikale abalwanyisa embuto. Ne infections, ezo infections wazize ebbali abantu abamu nga balwadde ba pressure, sukaali, ebitali bijjanjabe bulungi nabyo embuto zaabwe ziva mu goita, nga thyroid function eri waggulu nnyo, osanga oli alina thyroid hormones ziri waggulu nnyo, nazo zireetera obuto okuvaamu.
Okay, doctor. Buli abortion eri dangerous?
Yes. Oba ojejjiddemu oba ezzeeyoka zonna ziri dangerous in one way or another. Actually, mu busawo bwaffe obw'abakyala, abortions are part of the emergencies that we have, obstetric emergencies. Tuba tutudde wano ne bakuyingiriza omukyala nga ava kuva mu lubuto, ayinza okubleedinga n'okusinga ava okuzaala. Yes, ng'omusaayi gumuvaamu guggwamu, asituka bamuyoola buyoozi. Awo ffe ebeera emergency.
Ogwo omusaayi gubeera guva ki? Omwana yabeera asaanuusa sagamba kusaanuuka.
Omusaayi guba guva
obeera n'abaana ng'azadde ng'ali mu periods. Ng'ali mu periods bw'abeera n'abaana n'esheding.
N'abaana erina okujjayo erwana ekyo ekyagala okuvaayo ekifulume. Mu ngeri eyo omusaayi ogutandika okufubutuka nga mungi. Bajjukira kino ekintu. Omwana bakyali muto, ali mu kkula. So n'abaana eyo bwe bafuna olubuto, nakugambako olumu wano nti omusaayi gw'otwala mu bulamu obwo 40% egenda ku ndabaana. So wabeerawo ekyagala okujjayo olubuto olutannakula, kiba kitegeeza nti ki kisindika n'amaanyi, omusaayi guli gwonna gujja ne guyitamu. So omukyala bamukuleetera nga aggwawo obulamu bugenda. Ekitegeera. So tekitegeeza nti nno yajjemu yalwejjiddemu yekka yali mu ddenja. Naye n'olusazeewo ovaamu lwokka olwa ddenja. Tubeera n'obuzibu bw'amaanyi. Kati ate ne tubeerawo n'ensonga ya waliwo olubuto oluyita threatened abortion. Nalwo luli awo olutiisatiisa tulwagala kuvaamu n'abulidinga n'obulidinga ne. Kati nabo abakyala nabo babeera n'okutya. Kati oluusi oli bw'alaba lubulidinga ono mwana tajja kuba na nkono. Kyentera okuwulira abakyala kye bagamba.
Tagenda kutonda bulungi.
Agenda mu scan n'omugamba omwana wuno mulamu naye akasaayi kazze olw'ensonga ezitali zimu, implantation bleeding. Omwana ajja kutereera tugumiikirize. Musawo luno olubuto terujja kuba lulamu, naye ng'oluusi lusobola okutereera ne lukkakkana n'olukuza. Naddala nga lubadde luze myezi gino egisooka bakuwayo oluusi hormones ziba tezibalansize ey'olubuto gye twetaaga okuba waggulu progesterone ngeri wansiko. Bw'obawaako ku ddagala placenta egenda otandika ku myezi 3 omuntu olubuto ne lutereera. Oba ng'afunyewo ekimukanze oba kine lubulidingako ne lulekeraawo myezi egyo egisooka. Naye tekitegeeza nti olaba lubulidinzeeko beereeka. Jangu olaba omusawo. Omusawo yabagamba nti omwana kyali mulungi oba mwana ki agenda kuvaamu. Kati tulina ebyo n'ogamba nti oli abulidinzeeko temukyalimu lubuto olwanga omwana bw'abeera. Kyetuyita incomplete. Tumusigaddemu bicaafu ebyetaaga okukola ki okugyamu. Ndowooza olaba nti ekintu kigazi nnyo okusinga nti omuntu yaggyemu olubuto. Ebintu bingi
mulina okumunaazaamu n'abaana. Toyinza gamba nti olubuto lwavuddemu kaneeyongereyo kasita omwana tatonda. Nja kwongereza okwo nfuna omulala. Ekyo tosa kyegamba wekka kubanga omusawo alina okukebera n'atunuulira okulaba olubuto bwe luvaamu ne luggwamu. Omumwa n'abaana gulina okweggala n'otereera nga atalina kibaddewo. Naye oluusi bwe tukebera abakyala osanga omumwa n'abaana gukyeggudde, omusaayi gukyavaamu. Ogenda kola scanning eraga nti mulimu ebisigaddemu ebijama. Ebyo byakabera ebisigalamu ebisaayisaayi. Dangers we zitandikira zongambye nti olubuto luli dangerous. Luyinza ovaamu lwokka nga tuwagenderedde luveemu. Naye olw'ebiziddako ne lukutwala mu layini y'abali ababeera bagamba nti ono bamukozeeko ne bagira kine ne balumugjamu n'afuna infection. Naawe yalufuna ne luvaamu lwokka osobola okugendamu eyo layini. Oba tosobodde kukola ki kufuna bujjanjabi butuufu, omusawo okukeberako. Kwa bwe biba byasigaddemu
betaaga okubijjamu kuba tutabijjamu obuuka bujja ne buyingirayo kati obuuka bwe buyingirayo butandika okutabula ki ndamu munnabaana ngenda okulaba omuntu atandise musujja lubuto lunuma nnyo naye nga teyajja mu lubuto nga lwavaamu lwokka naye olwokuba omuntu yavaamu nagala kyakaluweddemu sikya bleeding n'atuleeka kati n'agenda okujja nga talina njawulo n'oli agenze n'alugjamu bubi kati awo okumatiza omuntu yalugjeemu naye ng'ate si bwaba yakoze eki yakoze.
Dr. Mpazo tukubire akafaananyi ka process ey'okujjamu olubuto oba oliawo abamu tetumanyi obuzibu buvaawa kinkosa omwana atonze abamu bagamba kasabeera nga akyali muto okuva kukisinga 2 paka nga myezi 2 olwo safe okujjamu ngamba bano abajjamu deliberately nekanga talwagala yali talwetegekedde nasalawo kagende yekweka alujjemu takoseza oluusi basawo kakati luno oluto ndulubeera lwangu sobola n'okumira obumizi empeke ne luvaamu. How true is that?
Kakati ngira ekigambo kyewasooseza nti embuto zonna ziri dangerous tewali lwomanyi gwokera bukeezi n'oteeka musulo mweruli kangende ndujjemu first and foremost tomanyi wawe luli olwo lwokulaba otyo kubanga olwateredde ne lugenda munabaana obulungi lulaga akantu ako kali positive mu musulo olwagenze mu luseke nalwo lulaga akantu ako okimanyi kakati gwe ng'ogenda olulina okuvaamu zisirwetaaga ogenda kumira mpeke ozimize oba ogenze bakuggyemu eyo ate ekizibu kye tulina abasawo abagenda okubagyamu ezo embuto nti katukulemu olubuto lw'omuntu obutendeke bwabwe tebubaawo ebiseera ebisinga ffe ekyo kyetufunanga ekizibu ogenda okubuuza ani yakozeeko tanyonyola okitegeera tamanyi ani yamukozeeko abantu tebesitula nti kangende ew'omusawo omutendeke agenda jja nekwekagira
anti amanyi omusawo omutendeke agenda mumugamba lwaki ojjamu olubuto luno sigenda
ate ng'ekyo kyetaaga nnyo nnyo kuba omusawo omutendeke jjajja osooka okuyamba ajaga tulabe olubuto wawe luli bw'oba olumeddeko nnyo nnyo nti mwayagala mmanyi wawe luli ekyo ajja kikuyamba naye bwona ogenda ewooli atali mutendeke najaga ntwala biti yingira tukuleki
tulujjemu
ati oyingira munda eyo tomanyi wawe luli ensonga enkulu weetandikira lweyita olwangu nti luto ekyo kirowoozeko nti tomanyi we luli bakutaddemu bye bakutaddemu oba byuma bye bataddeyo bamaliriza tebalina kye bajjeeyo
nyogera kuba owulira beefulukuta
kaakati mweyo process totegedde bye bankozesaako biri bitya birongoose bulungi so nga wantamudde nogende wabasaba batendeke bennyini n'obategeeza ki n'obanyonyola tomanyi oba bitereze bulungi bye bakozesa ebyuma babitaddeyo kakati mweyo embeera olubuto olulaba nti luto olaba gye lukutwala bakutaddeyo ekyuma oli agenza okunoonya jajja ebiri munda afumise nabaana olaba kakati mweyo embeera ebyo byonna babiyingiza munda muli ki munabaanayo awo wokka abantu batandikiddewo ne bafuna infection oli najja nga olubuto luzimbye lumuluma okufa misujja mingi nnyo amaaso ga yero ng'otunuulira omubuuza munaye ki ekyabaddewo ewiiki ego banzijjamu olubuto okiraba gena okulaba infection etambudde eri musaayi naye nga yatandise bwatyo kati olwo luto lwagamba nti luli safe nze oluba terumbeeredde safe that is already an unsafe abortion kuba infection gy'ofunye oluusi tugenda mu maaso ne tubalongoosa abakyala ogenda otuuka munda eyo nabaana osanga bagiwomogoddemu ekituli amasira gayiika buyisi tolinawo otandikira
nabaana bwe bagiwomogolamu ekituli obeera onaaba okyali safe
kisinzira kati oluusi osanga nga yonna eyonoonese evunze abaana batono olabanga mumugjamu nabaana kuba mwagakutaasa bulamu obwe yonna evunze ejjudde amasira bwe mugirekamu ejja kumutta ne mugimugjamu naye ng'olwo olubuto lwe lwabadde lukola ki lusooka akati olaba nti olubuto oli lwadalooza nti luli safe luto laba gye lumutuusizza kitegeeza bwe tukulongoosa ne tujjamu nabaana ebyokuzaala bikomyawo gwe tukyalina nabaana it was just a simple abortion which was 4 weeks gyewali ogamba nti ayo nyangu nnyo ojjamu kakati osanga oli nti bakunaazaamu mukama nakuyamba ne bakunaaza bye bakunaaziza naye biweddemu jjukira tolabayo n'ogenda eka lwavaamu ogenda okusituka oti ntuuli agudde tikikyate olubuto lwabise mu luseke bagenda mutuusa mu ddwaliro olubuto
yamanyi
lwavaamu jjukira yeematiza nti lwavaamu lwali luto ogenda mutunulira ng'ali mu kufa emergency ectopic tebagiraba bo bandaza munnabaana kye baali batalaba
ate era lubaluka
olwo olufudde kitegeezo semberera ali Dr. Spire babadde ayogerako ebiragaana okuzaala infertility ogenda okugira ti omulongoosa luseke nga lufudde olw'esayidi emu kakati jjukira bamuteekamu ekyuma ekyo bakikuteekamu infection weegende so otuuka te mu nseke ekyuma bakiba tekyali sterilized mu kutuuka mu nseke kitegeeza ki nti tube eblockings etaalimu ki lubuto egenzemu obuwuka bugyonoonye kitegeeza gwe tolina luseke n'olwo kati eno wetumala okugyamu ewabise luli olwandikoze ate lwayingiddemu obuwuka olaba nti olubuto oluto bwe lufuuse oluzibu ebizibu byalwo byeyongedde kakati kibaga nti gye lweyongera obukulu n'obuzibu zonna embuto si nnyangu luli ekirwongera oddufu lw'oluzibu omuntu aba yeetonze bwe mutandika ozanyira ku muntu ali munda omu nga yeetonze mutwe magulu mikono bagenda ofumitayo bajjeyo emikono bajjeyo okugulu bajjeyo omutwe ogenda obimaliriza
naye bakubayo ddagala omwana naganya okosa ekigambo kusaanuuka neyeetemaatema n'avaayo kubanga bajjayo musaayi
kisinzira olubuto bwe luba lwenkana nti bwe luba lumaze okufoominga omwana era omwana bajja kuvaayo tulina ekizibu ky'empeke empeke ezo tuzikozesa olw'ebintu ebyenjawulo ng'abasawo naye kati ziri buli wantu ndowooza oli agenda mpaayo bw'obuweke n'amirayo bw'abuliidingako omusaayi bwe gujaga lwavuddemu kakati tulina ababbu bo balowooza nti buli lw'obuliidinga obuto luvuddemu kyeki kye mbadde gamba olutiisatiisa ne lutavaamu akati abeera amaze obukerenda emyezi gyetoolodde ye nga sifuna piriyodi oluusi abuliidingako ne birekerawo olubutaziyajja lukuzi nga lweyongeddeyo
nagezaako oddujjamu ne lugaana
kati nagenda ekyo nekimustresi nga nagezaako oddujjamu ne lugaana naye nga ensonga y'oddujjamu togiraba kati abo nabo weebali kati oluusi oyagenda ozijjamu oli naazijjamu wamala okugjamu olubuto ne lubeera ng'ebikyafu bisigaddemu ng'empeke egyemu ebingi naye ng'ebirala bisigaddemu naye tayagala kujja wa musawo nze bye mbimanyi bulijjo nkozesa ekyo
dokita ajja nakumbuuza bingi
kati bw'alekamu ebyo ebisaayi ne bifuna infection naye ayinza okumaliriza ng'agenze paka ewooli yagenda ne balumugjamu kuba obwo obuuka bujja tambula mu tubes oluusi afune olubuto lwonna okugeramu amasira naye nga yatandika bw'atyo
kati waliwo ne baana abakosa hanga nabawuliranga dda nga tuli mu primary school secondary akosa hook ya hanga neyefumita buluto ne luvaamu babaawo banokosa nnanda
ebyo byonna kati bw'obeera omusawo obulumi obuwulira kuba byonna obiraba abaana bato najja nti yefumisa ekyuma it is very dangerous era ekyuma kimufumita kati wekimufumita nga akiteekayo bleeding netandika infection netandika tubafiirwa abaana bato
ekyuma ekyo kifumitawo exactly
tamanyi gyakiteeka
naye ate olubuto olwo luvaamu
ebiseera ebisinga baba balutawaanyizaako obutawaanya ne lwetwala kuba terukyalina we lunaabeererayo naye era osanga ebikyafu biri munda oluusi ekyuma bakiyisaamu ne bafumita ne bayitamu oli naafumitiramu n'ekyenda osanga ekyenda bakifumise ebiri mu byenda byegase nebiva mu nabaana n'olaba akavuyo akali omwo abaana bafa bato olw'eyo embeera gye babeera balimu naye nga kyannaku nnyo ennanda nazo nazirabako abawala nga bataddeyo ennanda egyemu olubuto
ennanda no bikwataganirawa erinamu obutwa oba eggula nabaana
ekigendererwa kyayo sikitegeeranga naye nga mpulira bagikozesa nnyo naye ndowooza abamu bagula nabaana abamu balowooza mulimu eddagala erijjamu kati enkomerera ennanda bagironda ku kkubo n'oteekayo obuka bonna bwetambula nayo bwonna obutaddewa mu nabaana
ayinza okubasooka jjooza
you cannot siyinza kwera comfortable toyinza kusitama niwantu olina kyoteekayo n'okisobola okyeteekayo ekiti ekyo mugenda mulongoosa omulwadde n'okisanga ng'oli yateekayo ekiti naye ng'ate omuntu yandibadde eri wabuvunaanyizibwa nnyo n'ogendebwa omusawo omutendeke nakuyamba
webali nnyo tulina Dr. Neema Nassolo musawo w'abakyala okuva mu Health Sense Medical Center awo ekatwe ku Muganzirwaza. Temubaawo katumule mu katono nnyo bwe tukomawo temwerabira kuba simu arasobola kuba oleza kibuuzo kyo ku 65 bagenda ku page ya Facebook NTV mwasize mutateekako ekibuuzo kyo tujja kuba tubuuza Dr. Neema atuddemu tukomawo.
Taste the feeling.
NTV is giving you an opportunity to get discovered. Be the next big screen star. Are you an actor or an actress or have dreams to become one? Well, here is the biggest chance to fulfill that dream. Take a picture of yourself and tell us what makes you stand out. Then #discover me on any of our social media pages. We are watching and we want to discover you.
Wanna make some cash? Just dial *185#.
This is the money from Airtel. I'm Triag Monesmas from Chambogo University. I've won 1,175,000 shillings with Airtel money. I urge everyone to use Airtel money. You'll be a lucky winner. I've won today. You can be a winner tomorrow, and you can be a winner in the grand finale.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Help me, Javier. Get close to my son and leave the rest to me.
Mrs. Mabel, I'd love to feel that you're really being honest with me, but
I'm only asking that you help me to correct some of the grave mistakes I've made in my life.
No, Ismail, you have to tell me immediately what you're planning on doing.
Ismail? You're speaking to Ismail Mora on the telephone?
Programu aliko mwasa mutatu line Dr. Neema Nasoro tuli ku nsonga ya abortion oba okujjamu embuto atangaziza ku kintu ekyo si buli abortion nti ebeere n'ey'omunku kutu gy'osalawo gwe ng'omuntu n'ogamba n'omwana simwagala bamuggyemu ezimu basikola abasawo olw'obuzibu bwolekedde omwana yennyini oba omuzadde maama yeetisse omwana oyo. Dr. tugenderoza tulabe ku buzibu dangers eziva ku kujjamu embuto.
Nza Farida mwebale kwekumira ku mwasuze mutya tulina ensonga nyingi eziyinza okuva kujjamu olubuto. Waliwo ebitandikirwako n'ogamba nti nono olubuto olugize ki luvuddemu luba lwakavaamu ofuna ki. First and foremost oyinza okuvaamu omusaayi omuyitirivu bleeding. Abantu bavuddemu omusaayi mungi nnyo ng'embuto zivuddemu nayeyongerayo okuba obubi n'abeerera ddala bubi
n'afa
ne tumufiirwa ng'agamba nti ki aggyemu olubuto n'agira ki n'aggwamu omusaayi bleeding. Ekyo tekiriko nti oluggyemu oba luvuddemu lukka. toyinza kinyonyola nti no ono yalugyemu bujja kyavudde bleeding naye gwe luvuddemu obuviiri okka lusobola okukola ki okuvamu omusaayi omungi ennyo ne gumuleetera okufuna ki obuzibu olukiyinza omuviirako n'okufa kati ate ne tubeera n'ensonga endala enkulu abantu gye batalabirawo ku olwo ng'agenza oddugyamu bw'agenda okugyamu olubuto yagamba lubuto baluggyemu ennaku 3-2 atandika kula ki kufuna musujja olubuto lunnuma infection etandika obuuka butandise otambula mu ki munnabaana obuuka butambula munnabaana bugenda mu maaso ne butambula ne buyitamu ne bugenda ne bukwata ki tulina omusirikale w'olubuto peritoneum bikka ebintu byonna ebiri mu lubuto kati essaawa infection bwegenda yeeyongera ng'ekwata ki omusirikale oyo
y'ani oyo omusirikale
tulina ekisaanikira ky'ebintu byaffe ebiri mu lubuto oba toyagala kifunemu ki infection kati obuuka buyinza otandika eno wansi munabaana ne butambula okusinziira ku kyekiba kiriwo oluusi nabaana bagitaddemu ekituli ne buyingira munda mu lubuto mwonna byenda ne bifuna oli najja olubuto oluzimbye emisujja mingi ogenda omukwatako masira nga gajjudde mu lubuto eyo complication nene nnyo
bireeta ne cancer
not really eyinza obutaba cancer naye infection gy'oba ofunye eyinza okuva ku nabaana we watandikidde okufuna obuzibu negenda paka netuuka mu byenda negenda paka neyingira omusaayi tugamba abantu bagenda mu shock what we call toxic shock ng'obuuka buyitiridde mu musaayi naye ng'ekyabutandise bwatandikidde ku nabaana obuuka ne bumuyingira omusaayi nga temukyalina n'agenda mu shock nga ne bamuwa eddagala ne bamuwa amazzi tatereera olw'okuba ki emiswa gyonna gyononese omusaayi gwonna gujjudde obuwuka
oluusi mu shock gyasanyalira
gyafiira n'omujjanjaba naye muntu tafuna njawulo agatera kujja ng'obudde bugize eki bugenze infection kintu kikulu ne tubeera n'oku injuries oba nkyogere ntya muganda
obulabe ku nabaana oba mu bitundu byennyini byonna
ebyekyama kati omuntu ayinza okuba nga ateekayo ekyuma nga bwe nasoose okugamba n'afumita nabaana oluusi n'afumita n'ayitamu n'afumita n'ekyenda oluusi abantu babafumisa obuwagu oli n'amaliriza okuba nti olubuto luvuddemu ate n'abeera ki atonya musulo nosanga oli nga ekyenda kifulumye obukyafu bwonna bwonna ne bwegattaawo era bigenda mu maaso ng'afuna ki infection kati ebyo bye bitandikirwako nti omuntu byabifuna nga gira ki nga olubuto lwakavaamu nobeerawo nekyo kyenagambye oli najjamu olutali walujja n'agenda alugjamu waloza ajjemu luli munabaana nga luli mu nseke embuto ezo zikoma abakyala bakomawo olw'okuba yematiza nti lwavaamu ng'oluseke lwabise awo nayo bleeding neyingiriramu awo kati wetumala ebyo ebisooka tulina ebino ebiddako bw'ogenda olwawo oba yakufumita munabaana ekyuma nekireeta obuuka nabaana nevunda bagijjeemu kati wabeera bagijjeemu kitegeeza tokyayinza kukola ki kuzaala ekyo kizibu kimu
nobawo nogiteekako enkovu ey'olubeerera omwana aba akuliramu omwo
yes kati tulina abo ate mubeera n'enkovu weebaza mukama bwakusaasira n'ofuna olulala ng'olina nkovu naye ng'ofunye olubuto olulala awo kikuleetera risiki okuba nti nno nkovu eyo yennyini nabaana esobola okwabikirawo kuba waba wanavu kati ebiseera ebisinga abalabaga kasita banzijanjaba ne bannongosa bulungi nabaana ne bagitereeza kati waafuna olubuto lwayagala kati natakitwala nga nsonga nkulu kola ki kunnyonnyola musawo tebatera zoogereza ezagenda bwe zityo oli waba akuyambye akunnyonnyola n'atakunnyonnyola kati atuuka okuzaala muleba ogenda okulaba mukyalo olubuto lwakatandika omulaba nti nabaana eyabise atalina eddagala lyakozesezza nabaana eyabise eki kati wali we baba baagatta watera okubaawo kati ebisabo bitandika watendewala oluusi nabiba tebitandisa oli nayabika nabaana olwokubanga oba ekituli kyali kinene naye abasawo ne bafuba nnyo okulaba nga bataasa nabaana
bweyabika musobola ogizaawo
tubeerako n'ebitundu ebiba byababa bafumise binoga nti awo wakyali walamu katutunge tuzeewo wetutuukira oga nti katukuggyemu nabaana kuba ffenna tuba tukimanye implication nti omukazi ono tumugyamu nabaana tumuggyeko ki rights ze ez'okuba nti azaala naye we tukikolera tuba tutasabulamu obwo naye tugezaako nnyo nnyo buli musawo ajanja abakyala ne bojjanga okoze ogwo omusango gwo kuba nti ogenze n'olujjamu n'ofuna ebizibu tulwana nnyo okulaba nti tutaasa ki n'abaanayo tewali agamba nti mujje mu bujja no kuba tukimanyi nti leero wakikoze naye ate nti ogenda kuba weetaaga omwana so abasawo bagezako nnyo okulaba nti bataasa n'abaana kati abo bataasiddwa bwaddamu mukaba n'amuyamba n'afuna olubuto bw'atayogera kizibu kyabaawo asobola okufuna n'abaana okwabika wali we baagira ki we baali baatunga ne basiba
kati waba ayogedde mu muyamba mutya mukozesa
yes awo tuba tulina okutegeka omukyala afuna ekizibu bwekityo toyagala ayite mu bisa kuba saawa yonna asobola okufuna ki n'abaana okwabikawo we baafumita ekituli era mutegeka bulungi nnyo nemwe tujja kujjamu omwana nga ebisa tebigize eki tebikulumye tusobola okutaasa wali awanafu ekyo kiri awo kati ne tubeera ne oluusi kati mu mbeera eyo ey'okufuna infection olisa afuna treatment mukama namuyamba ne biteyongerayo ebyo kutuuka kulongosa biki naye n'abaana ebisenge ne byegira ki ne byekwata ne bikola enkovu n'osanga ngo tewakyali mwana wasobola kola ki kukulira enkovu zigaseewo munda muli temukyali mulungi kukulizaamu ki mwana muntu n'abeerawo nga n'abaana agirina naye nga tagira ki tafuna lubuto kubanga bino bye babeera baayisaamu oluusi bigira ki
oba oluusi nga azifuna naye nga zivaamu
ekyo kiyinza okuba nti nno mukuba nti no bamukolako luli omumwa gwa n'abaana gwanafuwa kati ezo zovaamu embuto okuvaamu naye kiri osanga nga mulimu nga nkovu ng'omuntu tasobola tewaliwo olubuto lwe lunaabeera kubanga bamuyisaamu ekyuma nafuna infection ne wawona ne wakola enkovu kati ekisenge si kirungi kuza mwana oyo naye n'abeeraawo kati ebyo babiraba leeta biri ebiri ale byenkugambye bino bijja luvannyuma olinaga nga sifuna lubuto oluusi ogenda okugirawo ti bamuyisaamu bakyuma ng'omumwa gwa n'abaana bwe gwali guwona oba gwafuna obuvune mu kuwona ne gwegatta bwe guti nga tewali wayita kintu kyonna kyonna nkwaso tezina bwe zinayita kutuuka ki gye zigenda kufunirayo kati awo ekizibu ekisinga obunene abantu kye bafuna late complications ekyokuba nti no balemu okuzaala nga naye ekikulemesezza leero okufuna omwana kiva mu kiri ekyabaawo
ekyokufuna n'omugjamu
oluusi oba olugyemu baluvuddemu lwokka naye ng'engeri gye bakozeeko tebadde ki nungi nosanga nga kati byonna bizze byegasi n'abaana yegadde takyalina wonna oteeka mwana eri enseke zafuna infection ziblokinze omulala n'abaana bagijjemu ng'ali bubi nnyo okitegeera kati n'obeera ng'otuuse mu mbeera eyo kuba nti tolina ki hope yakufuna mwana so it brings us to one thing nti buli muntu yenna yandifunye okufuna ekizibu ky'okuba nti butoluvaamu lubeerewo omusawo omukugu tusobole okwewala bino ebijja amangu bino bye tugamba nti no ofuna ekizibu ekiriwo kati n'ebirijja myaka 5 ng'otuusizza okola ki ogamba nti kati njagala mwana kuba n'oli ayinza okuba yavaamu ng'omwagala naye totuulaka ekintu ekyo abasawo mubalabe buli ddwaliro amalwaliro agasinga kati mulimu abasawo abasobola okumanya nti kakati ono yeetaaga kino we do safe abortions and abortion care oli ne bamujjanjaba bulungi nti olubuto lwavuddemu naye ebino ebisayi byetaaga okujjamu ne babimugjamu bulungi ebintu byonna birongoose bulungi n'addayo eka ng'agize eki ng'ateredde okusinga okugamba nti akangende mu kiriniki wali bwe banakolerako amangu oba kangende eri nga oyagala kwekweka eyo oba n'ogamba kasita lwavuddemu kantuule eka genda olaba omusawo yabagamba nti oli bulungi kuba ebiseera ebisinga bwe bajja mu ddwaliro abakyala n'obakebera bwe lwavuddemu lwokka omala mukebera n'ogamba olubuto lwonna lwaweddemu omumwa gwa n'abaana gwegadde bulungi weera obusobozi ne mukola kasikaani ne mulaba munda nga buli kintu kiri bulungi n'omuwa eddagala kuba tulina obbawa eddagala nga olubuto ovuddemu antibiotics n'amira n'atereera ate tulina okwogera ku ki ebyo byonna babyesubya kyova olaba abantu abamu osanga naddala abazijjamu obujja olwawo okusanga yajjamu olumu bwajjamu olumu n'abeera successful kati ezidakaga luli nakozesa kino tamanyi nti tebifaanagana kati kyabuvunaanyizibwa nnyo okujja mu ddwaliro ne bw'oba ogenzeyo n'oyitawo n'okimaliriza ky'oyagala okumaliriza tukusaba ojje mu ddwaliro tusobole okwewala olubuto luno lw'otayagala eyo nsonga nkulu nnyo mu kusooka lwaki olufuna ekyo kye twagala twogereko mu ddwaliro omuntu aleme kufuna lubuto nga tannatuuka ddwetaaga kuba ebintu bingi nnyo ebikozesebwa okulaba nno mutafuna ki lubuto okusinga okulinda oddufuna nti ate olugemu ate ofune n'olulala okole kye kimu ofune n'olulala kati watuukira okujja ajja ku Lwakuna nga bulijjo nzijjamu nemba bulungi kati ajja leeti nga luno lwoluganye terulinga ziri zabadde ajjamu so kyabuvunaanyizibwa nnyo buli muntu bw'oba ovuddemu olubuto olina okufuna family planning counseling and choose a method n'ofuna method gy'onookozesa kuba ne bwe luba luvuddemu lwokka twagala emyezi nga 3 n'abaana emala okutereera owone bulungi olyoka ofuna olulala
kaga obeeranga eyazadde
yes ideally twandibadde tusiwa obudde osobole okutereera omusaayi guli ogugenze guddewo obulamu bwo butereere bwabeerawo ka infection kajjanjabwe emyezi 3 olyoka ogira ki oddemu ofuna olulala kati egyo emyezi 3 wabeera tewayi kyokozesa anti obuto luvaamu bulungi kyangu nnyo omuntu okuddamu okulwala n'okufuna nejja eddala okujja biba nnomo
era bagamba nti omuntu avuddemu olubuto alufuna mangu
yes kati wotabeerawo kyakozesa kyonna luba lujja kuddamu gye mangu
waliwo abaana be bazaala nga balina parts ze bamisinga abamu balowooza nti luba lubuto bwe bagezaako okugjamu ne lugaana
not really kuba olubuto bwe luba lunavaamu bwe luba teruveemu lukula ne lugenda mu maaso naye waliwo ebintu ebibaawo nga congenital anomalies ezo zetwandiise nga abaana bazaalibwa n'obulemu kyekibaawo emyezi egisooka egyo mu bulamu bwabwe egyo kyenva nzijukira muntu ayogera ku myezi egisooka 3 kikulu nnyo abakyala bano kuba nti bagenda mu ddwaliro ne bafuna folic acid naye lwakuba abakyala ajja myezi 5 nze bulijjo ndi bulungi kati eddagala lituyambako omwana nga yeetonda okupreventinga ebintu ng'ebyo n'ogenda mu ddwaliro mangu n'ofuna folic acid n'omira omwana we asobole okuvaayo ng'ali bulungi oluusi abantu balina endwadde ezimu oli mulwadde wa sukaali nga tebamujjanjabye bulungi osobola okufunamu obuzibu kati olina okugenda ebyo nanono bikolako nga tonaba nakufuna lubuto okusobola preventinga kino ekigira ki ekyomwana okuvaayo nti alina bitundu bimu ebirala tabirina bintu bingi ebiba bibaddewo naye sigamba nti olubuto lwali luvaamu ne lugaana
esimu tuziguddewo osobola okuba n'obuuza Dr. Neema kyonna kyoyagala okumanya ku mbuto oba okuzijjamu waliwo wanaabuuza thanks Farida I once aborted and later produced a baby but now I have failed to get another one why top of that I get heavy periods almost a week with big clots what could the problem be
ekibuuzo ekyo kirungi akibuuziza mu lulimi oluzungu naye nga n'abayogera Oluganda bandyagadde okimanya nti
yajjamu olubuto naye oluvannyuma yafuna omwana naye kati anoonya omulala akyagaanye
kakati awo ebintu bingi biyinza okuba nga byaliwo
ne periods ze zaakyo
kati ate n'olaba nga ne periods zimutawanya zaigujja nnyo oluusi zibeera hormones nga twetaaga okulaba hormones ze bwe zibalansinga nakyo kimutawanya embeera nnyingi nnyo toyinza gamba nti nno okuvaamu olubuto kyokka kyekimuleetedde okuba nti tafuna ate yafunawo omwana kati usually ataafune ng'avuddemu olubuto ebiseera ebisinga tafuna kati awo yeetaaga okweyongera okukebera n'omusawo balabe ki ekiyinza okubaawo bakebere ku hormones ze lwaki periods ziri heavy
ate zirimu omusaayi bagamba mbu periods zirina kuba clear blood
ziba kyeziba teziyinza kuba nti ziri clear buli omu alina ezize naye obudde ne flow byonna byetaaga okwongera okukeberako okulamu
ali ku simu hello wagisebo
ensula Farida
ensula nnungi sebo wasiza otya
n'omukyalo oyo mulamusiza alina kyagambye ojjamu olubuto still etaaga ojje mu ddwaliro bakuliyare naye abantu abasinga fiya gye balina nti wagira mu ddwaliro n'abagamba nti yajjemu olubuto awone ntugenda okulumira ku mukono because I hear it is illegal to abort so can she clarify a little bit on that one nti omukyala wanagira mu ddwaliro eyo agenda kubuulira ebintu olwavuddemu mu mutwiki amaladdeewo so si kumuliikizi yasomu
mutero bayitira poliisi
nedda sebo omulimu gwaffe si gwakuyita poliisi omulimu
gwaffe
gwakutaasa amateeka fe omulimu gwaffe gwakutaasa bulamu era tetukuyita omuntu omukyala ave yajeno fe tuyite poliisi era omusawo bwayita poliisi ye kenyini ethics ze alina ozinoonyerezaako kubanga omuntu azze nga akubuulira amazima alina ekizibu toyinza kutandika kuba ffe usually tukujjanjaba ne tukansulinga si ffe tuwaayo sife tuwayo information ku police ntono yajjemu olubuto jangu omutwale ate fe twagala nnyo ne bwe baluviiriddemu eyo ng'okoze by'okoze ojje tukujjanjaba oleme kutuuka ku biri bye twogedde ate infection yamuleseza amasira kuba tumenyeka nnyo buli wolwawo okujja gye tuli okusinga eyajja amangu so sebo tetukikola era teri musawo mutendeka akikola mpozi nga yennyini amukozeeko n'ensonga lwaki bakikozeeko abazadde b'omwana nga be bakitutte nefe abasawo gwo si mulimu gwaffe ideal omwana tulina ne wa mwana muto tulina omujjanjaba atereere bw'abanga talina right kwesalirawo mukadde omumunnyonnyola naye nga temugana tugenda oyite poliisi kwesaawo ekiba tekijja kikola ki kututaasa twagala bulamu bwa mwana kuba bulungi sebo abantu abo bajje mu ddwaliro tewali musawo sinze njogerera abasawo naye abasawo abatendeke tebayinza kukola kintu ekyo tubayite poliisi baagala nnyo okujjanjaba otereere ng'ofunye ekizibu okusinga okuyitira ab'amateeka
omulala ali ku simu hello oli ku TV kendeeza eddoboozi lyayo ojebaleko wangi nyabo ye nyabo
nazalako nenzijamu
avuddeko abagamba embuto mmeka gezaamu bambi gezaako ddemu okube oyinza okuyitamu hello wangi nyabo hello sorry hello wangi nyabo
Santo wa Madina naye nje maze miezi 3 sitala ate mwezi kati mwezi ogutukalwalo kusaisa ina lulimu amazi yecho
oyine emyaka emeka abudde kamaze miezi 3 talwala mpidaga atalwala ata yezo sato insosalira wechi talwala naye nga omwezi wegutuuka nga afuna amazzi ava mu mazizi galimu otusaayisayi tutono naye katsoke tukwate essimu endala tujja mudda mulumu halo wangi wangi nyabo alaikum salaam warahmatullahi wabarakatu halo yogera ali ku simu hello yes nyabo
Farida
wangi
kakati nze bampita Sandra
yes Sandra
nze najjamu ko olubuto era nekigenda bulungi naye simanyi lwaki after constantly njira nefuna kipaidi wano mu lubuto nga kinyoola naye nga wali na bleeding just for 1 week nekivaawo naye kati njira nefuna pain ng'ekintu kinyoola oba ekizibu kiyinza kuba ki
bbanga kyeriyiseewo
waiseewo emyezi 2
okay naye nga ogenda mu ddwaliro lwali safe yali safe abortion oba wamira bumezi ttaka
yali abortion
ati ng'eri safe wagenda wa musawo yeyagijjamu yeyagikola okay kale Sandra omulala hello kale nnyabo nawe gyebaleko yes Betty
mbadde mbuuza musawo nti omuntu nze namaze nazaalako omwana afa
sorry
naye kati kiddangamu nakati
myaka emeka egiiseewo
myaka nga 15 paka leero
okay sorry ojja kuba bulungi mukwano hello wangi mami wangi oli ku programu yogera buuza dokita
nze nakavamu embuto 3
nga ziva mu buvi
nga muvi ekibuli mu ddwaliro naye kati nakama okuva wabasimbalo bava mu Desemba kati okuva kudanga mu kufuna lubuto lulala ate nga njagala bbeebi
okay kale mukwana
kati nsawa njagala mbu ekiki ekinyigwa n'ofuna olubuto.
Kale tova ku TV yo. Omulala omu babiri tuwummulemu then tukomewo tujja kukwata n'abalala. Hello? 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 Okay. Doctor, tusooke tuddemu Madina. Talwala. Amaze emyezi 3 talwala. Afunayo just buzizi. Abulimu otusaayisaaya.
Kakati Madina ensonga emyezi 3 talwala ate nagamba afunayo olusaayisaaya kati kyetwetaaga okumanya alufuna ddi lubeerawo buli kadde ujja mu kiseera kya periodi ebintu bingi ebisobola ovaako okuba nti no oyo tujja mugatta n'omulala. Okay, neda tujja mugatta. Okay. Kati ebintu bingi ebivaako okuba nti n'omuntu tagira ki talwala oba alwala akatono katono ate alinga alwala akatono naye waliwo olinga etafunira ddala periods. Bintu bingi biba byetaaga okukeberako oba wafunako ku periods ne zirekera obulekezi waliwo olinga tazifunangako wadde. So it can range from bintu bingi hormones ziba zetaaga okutegeera
oba nga yagezanye mu menopause. Emyaka sigitegedde. Yes,
nakyo gye kiri. Waliwo n'abato abagendamu but that is not tekijjabuza abeera n'ebirala byayongerezaako ebimu byabawulira. Naye ensonga Madina tusobola ginnyonnyolera wano ku TV.
Tujjamu esimu.
Yeetaaga kuba nti no bakebedde ebintu birala bingi okulaba kyekiyinza okuba nga kireeta ekyo.
Okay. Ali ku simu? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Wanje nyabo?
NTV?
Ye nyabo?
You know, I'm asking. I have blocked tubes. Both my tubes are blocked, and I want to ask the doctor, can it be worked on?
Okay, she will try to answer.
Yes.
Okay, I
Both
hope.
tubes are blocked.
Did you confirm that with a doctor?
Yes, with a doctor. Went to visit him.
What's the age?
I haven't had babies. It's around 3 years now.
How old are you?
I'm 35.
Okay, had any babies before?
Pardon?
Did you have any babies before?
No, I've never had.
Okay.
Nothing like any pregnancy or anything. I do not know what it means to be pregnant.
Okay.
And I've never used any contraceptives or anything.
Okay, please stay tuned. She will answer you. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Wanji? Kale mkwano nawe gye baleko.
Kale nze amaze kubuuka omusawo. Najjamu kofi obuto obulwanyisa 5. Kati okatoyi kinzi munana kigenda zengenda period.
Sooka oleke. Terera wamu oddemu. Oddemu obuuze.
Najjamu olubuto emyezi 5. Kati okuva olwo sidanga kugenda mu period.
Ogambye wayiseewo bbanga ki?
Wayiseewo emyezi
8.
Yes, sidanga kugenda mu period.
Walugjamu otya?
Alumizibwa mu lubuto.
Walugjamu otya olubuto?
Nagenda mu ddwaliro.
Okay. Lwali lwa myezi emeka ddwo?
Myezi 5.
Myezi 5.
Okay.
Ate n'akakola nyingi.
Wakakola ki?
Scan.
Wakakola scans nyingi?
Embeera ngenda nekuza buli kimu engamba kyayo.
Nga buli emu egamba kyayo, ezisinga zigamba ki?
Abambaga n'ebizimba. Omulala abambaga ng'omukuka wali ebyasigala.
Waliwo ebyasigalamu. Kale mukwana, tova ku TV. Katuwummulemu katono nnyo temuvaawo tujja n'ekitundu ekisembayo tuli ne Dr. Neema Nasolo.
NTV is giving you an opportunity to get discovered. Be the next big screen star. Are you an actor or an actress or have dreams to become one? Well, here is the biggest chance to fulfill that dream. Take a picture of yourself and tell us what makes you stand out. Then #DiscoverMe on any of our social media pages. We are watching and we want to discover you.
Wanna make some cash? Just dial *185 hash.
This is the money from Airtel. I'm Diag Monesmas from Chambogo University. I've won 1,175,000 shillings with Airtel money. I urge everyone to use Airtel money. You'll be a lucky winner. I've won today. You can be a winner tomorrow, and you can be a winner in the grand finale.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Help me, Javier. Get close to my son and leave the rest to me.
Mrs. Mabel, I'd love to feel that you're really being honest with me, but
I'm only asking that you help me to correct some of the grave mistakes I've made in my life.
No, Ismail, you have to tell me immediately what you're planning on doing.
Ismail? You're speaking to Ismail Mora on the telephone?
You don't have to look any further. Get online and you'll get any property.
It's all about joinery. How best do you give a tree a very good second life?
Because there's already development happening around.
Say for example, carpets, thick luxurious carpet, and you say, I've got to have a carpet wall to wall in my house, but we're a hot country.
Welcome to the property show, where we make real estate sense.
I'm loving your love, baby. I got a weakness for sweetness.
I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy that can't get not free. You're a ghost. This can't be. Ooh la la la. It's the way that we rock when we doing our thing. Ooh la la la. It's the natural law that the refugees bring. Ooh la 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 la.
Well, as long as we're together, I'm fine with it, bro.
A promise of brotherhood.
Oh no, you're burning up! JR! My brother's going to be fine, right? You can't adopt the two of us.
Your brother can be adopted, but I'm going to have a hard time with you.
Gail! Are you telling me, bro, huh? Yes, I am! Because you were such a burden to me!
Separated by tragedy, life will push them farther apart. One grows up in wealth and power, and the other strives hard for his family.
Coming through!
Their love for one woman will bridge them again.
How much are you?
Pardon?
$2,000? 4,000?
Should I be impressed with your question?
Yeah, there's nothing money can't buy.
Hey, sir, you know I can take the wheel if you want some thrill.
Mia!
This is as far as I go, sir.
Mia, what are you doing?
Not all women have a price.
Bridges of love.
Look at all the juices that are in there, and that is what I'm looking for. my goodness. Look at that.
Tuchagenda maaso programu oliko mwasiza mutya ndine Dr. Nema Nasolo togera kubya kujjamu mbuto olujjamu otya
okuva
embuto ezivaamu ebibuuzo katsoke tuddemu bino then tuddemu tukwate amasomo amalala katsoke ne omuwala asembyeyo yajjamu emyezi 8 emabega
si waliwo bwetutanaddamu ayina obulumi yajjamu obuto lwavaamu naye kati alina obulumi mu lubuto
oyo Sandra oyo Sandra yalujjamu myezi 5 emabega myezi 2 emabega yalujjamu wa musawo naye kati afuna pain
bwe luba lwavaamu pain tekitegeza nti buli wejja kiyinza okuba kyava kuri olwo lubuto oba awona ayinza okuba alinamu ekirala oba infection ngeyo agenda omusawo amukebere bamukebereko ayinza okuba alinamu bubeezi wamusulo naye nga usually damage tetera genda bbanga ddene bwetyo nga tonaba kufuna ki bulumi bukujjayo kagenda kwa musawo wabula agenda bamucheckinge balaba omusulo oba gulimu infection oba ekizibu kyonna ekiyinza okubaawo
bayina efudde ku abortion ejja after how long
usually etera mukubeera mu wiiki
sorry
like in a week maximum oba otandise okufuna effects ezokuba nti ba infection eyingiddemu ate emyezi 2 mpozi nga ate waliwo ebirala bange efuse chronic pain already obuka bwabeeramu ne bubeeramu nowona nosigala ng'ofuna pain kuba mingi nnyo ebigireeta.
Okay. Betty yazaala baby omu myaka 15 emabega agezezaako kati omwana yafa agezezaako lubuto lukyagaanye.
Betty ensonga ziba nyingi kati ezaalina myaka 15 activity nga Dr. Swaya wadde ajogerako ebintu biba bingi ebisobola okubaawo okuviira ddala kuba nti no gwe kennyini olina ekizibu omwami asobola okuba nga alina ekizibu ba hormones tezibalansinga oba bizimba ebintu bingi nnyo kati omuntu nga Betty yeetaaga kuba nti nno ki agenda mu ddwaliro abasawo ne bamulaba ne balaba ki ekiriwo myaka 15 mingi.
Alhamdulillah. Ona jemu embuto 3 olwasemba yalujja mu December. Naye kati agezaako anoonya olubuto lukyagaanye.
Kisinziira kyekyaliwo nga luvaamu yabaakya infection
ziri 3
zivaamu ezo 3
simanyi oba ziri intended oba zivaamu
zivaamu zokka oyo kakati abeera embuto ziyinza okuba nga lwana abaana nnafu nga bwe twagambye ezimbuto obeerawo notandika okuvaamu omusaayi embuto lwa myezi 4 ne luvaamu kati omukyala bwati aba yeetaaga okubeera nga akeberwako naye myezi 4 si kiwanvu nnyo tetutanye okweraliikira myezi 4 gyokka tutwala emyezi nga 6 ku mwaka ogamba nti omuntu alemeddwa okufuna agumiikirizeemu naye era bwalufuna ayanguwe kati ate nga bali mu ntegeka z'okulufuna ayanguwe ogenda okulaba omusawo basooke balabe ki ekigenda mu maaso
kozi n'abaana bwe beera ennafu mulina engeri gye mukitaasa
tulina engeri gye tukolamu ne tusibayo akaweta okunywerezayo olubuto olwo naye nga kyetaaga okumanya kigenda mu maaso kati mbuno obudde bw'aba alina okulabiramu omusawo naye teeraliikira emyezi 4 toyinzaga nti olemeddwa mu myezi 4.
Okay, ndoza kisinza okumweraliikiza kuba nti ziri 3 zamudiringanwa
zavaamu anti kati bw'ovaamu embuto 3 ez'omudiringanwa call an habitual abortion olina embuto ezivaamu habitual abortions seetaaga kujjanjaba nga tonabaana kuzifuna n'olaba omusawo n'omunnyonnyola ne bakubulira ebyokukola byonna counseling negenda mu maaso so kati obudde bwalimu butuufu okulaba omusawo wakola process ya counseling.
Alhamdulillah. Waliwo ono myaka 35 alina blocked tubes confirmed zombi 2.
Yes, kati blocked tubes ezo bwe ziba nga zombi zi blocked nga confirmed obudde time is not with her kuba 35 yeah. Usually you take time okirowoozaako ng'oli below 30 awo ati lwogenda okula 35 years you're tending to lose time so yeetaaga okulaba IVF specialist bano abasawo they are yes, but they are more specialized in in vitro fertilization kati ekirungi nti wano mu Uganda kati tulina services ezo so asogenda nalaba abasawo
at very expensive olinga agamba rolling out possibility of her getting pregnant.
Usually blocked tubes ezo ekijja okuyamba better kijja kubakola ki kola IVF probably 35 years kwa hiyo naye bakola mu banazaamu biki tebitera kwa blocking tubes nga zonna za blocking for all that long. So bwe bandi badde mu advising ekisembayo naye nga most likely ayina utandika ate tewali kitasoboka.
Oh no,
you're saying they are very expensive but people have gone through it and afforded mpola mpola.
Ono yajjamu lwa myezi 5 emyezi 8 emabega neba mugamba oba agambe naye ayina pain bamugamba akoze scans nga 8
tafuna period emyezi 8.
Actually yes, scans buli emwe mugamba kike
bingi ebizizo kubaho bingi okubeera nga mu process y'okulujjamu bayinza okuba nga n'abaana yagira ki yegatta omwago n'abaana nga tewali musaayi we guyitira kuvaayo eyo possibility eriawo wayinza okubeerawo hormone nga bayina hormone ezimu ziri high nga prolactin nga yali etandisa okuforminga
kosi twagambe bwe luvaamu osobola okuddamu nofuna periods after 1 month.
Yes, usually periods zanguwa kati ekitaleeta periods ate biyinza kuba bintu birala naye tenawulidde agamba bwate sikani ezimu zimugamba ebintu byasigalamu kati simanyi oba
malumugamba
yes bakola ki that is very important kuba nze ekyo tekimmatiza okuŋŋa nti bagamba byasigalamu ne bakola batya okitegeera kuba abasawo abamulaba balina okuba bamuwa plan ekiddako ki kyetaaga okumukeberayo okulaba ki ekigenda mu maaso omwago n'abaana guli gutya physically si bya scan
omwago n'abaana egusiba n'oku bleeding ate bleeding
ate omusaayi guba gunayitawo
guwaganya
wanga wakutewo atimbe
okay
naye ate ayongeddeko n'obulumi seriously alina okugenda mukebera ne balaba kuba oluusi abantu abamu omusaayi gwakimulatinga nga abantu abatalina ki opening eyita musaayi ne gwanga teguvaayo nga kyetaagisa okukola ki omuyambako guveeyo.
Katulaba abalala abali ku ssimu. Hello.
Kuno kuliko.
Hello.
Hello.
Wanti nyabo. Oli ku NTV mama.
Okuliko kusonde tino kuddamu. Sara ino lubuto mama ngamba lujja.
Okay. Ani Aisha.
No. But then both. Oh. Mtinazabu mtu.
Wakola ki?
Omwana yasoka kampula ubuto mutendere.
Mukwana soko terere Aisha tukiwulidde bulungi ekyo.
Naye kati mazeni ya omwana kusini nakasi. Naye sinaba kuza omwana mulala.
Aisha omwana yabache yasoka.
Talina kiyaba.
Akuza ine myaka 9.
Aina myaka 9 eriseewo. Naye kati sifuna omwana mulala. Ate kati buto akumisinga kale kampiyodizi myezi ng'esatu olumu n'endwala n'engoberaganya myezi ng'ena nga ndwala mu buli mwezi ate n'enziramu n'enzidda n'emisinga myezi ng'esatu naye bwe bankebera badokita basina kizibu kyonna kyonna kale nteera nnyo okugenda mu badokitazi ne bambuulira ne bagamba atolina kizibu obuzibike ne bagezaako okumba nakagenda mu badokita abasinga naye bagamba tolina kizibu kyonna naye kati nnaku zino teera kufulumya nnyo amazzi gawunya bubi nnyo nnyo simanyi oba kale kiba kiva ku ki.
Okay, kale Aisha dokita agenda kuddamu. Omulala hello. Hello. My name is Josie. I'm pregnant and my husband has threatened to divorce me if I don't abort. He doesn't want more responsibility. I want to have my baby. Tekisekerwa nekyewuunyisa.
Kintu kikalubo okuba nti nno muli ku side bbiri. Omu ali kweno, ono ali kweno. Which are completely different sides. Kubanga kati ono wagamba nti nkoye obuvunaanyizibwa saagala lubuto. Ono ayagala omwana we. That is more of
thank you.
Something really ekitawanyiza marriage. Naye ate nga sawungirwa kinyonyola naye nga ndowooza nti no abakyala naffe tulina rights
okwesalirawo
okusalawo reproductive rights belong to us women. Ffe tulina kye kisinza otuleetera obuzibu obuvunaanyizibwa bw'okuba nti tuzaala abaana okusingira ddala buli eriffe kubanga kati omukyalo oyo kyagamba nti bamugambye ajjemu olubuto buli kintu kyonna ekimutuukako kiba kituuse ku ye okitegeera kati okusalawo okusinga obukulu kuli eri mukyalo oyo omwami ayinza okuba ye kyayagala nti baluggyemu naye ate okulufuna bombi bwali buvunaanyizibwa bwabwe to be sincere omwami n'omukyala balina obuvunaanyizibwa kuki ku lubuto olwo omukyala oyo yeetaaga ekisinga obukulu kati beetaaga okuba nti bayingira mu kansala beetaaga okubeera kansodi omwami n'omukyala batuule wamu maybe n'omusawo oba kansala yennyini boogere ku nsonga eyo kubanga ekyo kintu si kitono nnyo
ayinza okuba tamwagala kati naye nga singa banaamuzaala
yes ayinza n'obutamwagala ne baba bamuzadde naye ate bwagenda odujjamu naafa what is that so ensonga yo okujongera ogidiscussingira wano tekijja kuba kyangu naye mbadde nsaba omwami n'omukyala nga bwe bafunye ekizibu ekyo ekyokuba nti marriage eri ku stake baagala kwawukana lwa lubuto balabe omusawo balabe ne kansala batule boogere ku kintu ekyo bakole decision entuufu naye nga wano siyinza kukimusalirawo nti oba ki naye nga kimanyi nti reproductive rights abakyala tuzirina
aliko simu hello
Hello.
Yes, ebo.
Jebali Farid.
Kale nawe jebaliko.
Musawo munebaliza okujja mu studio tujjanja. Ono tata jebi okutana na tete.
Yes, ebo.
Kyambuza omusawo oyo. Omwami amanyira ku kintu tazaala. N'omwami asobola okwemanya tazaala ne yeetegeera.
Topic simpanve.
Ate ezo ensonga ze mbadde mwogerako naku ezo ne Dr. Spire naye omwami naye asobola okumanya nti nze sizaala kubanga anti bagenda ne babagamba jamu mu ddwaliro genda omwami mugamba ajje mu ddwaliro tumuggyeko enkwaso ne bagaana but that is the only way tubatunulira enkwaso z'omuntu ensonga ze zonna zonna ez'obufumbo nga bwe zitambula zinyonyola omusawo ebyo byennyini bye bakozesa okumanya nti gwe tuzaala kyoba spams teziriyo naye ng'alina kugenda mu ddwaliro tayinza kumanyiraka ekyo takyakimanye nti ayinza kukitegeerera waka alina okugenda ew'omusawo ne bakebera ebintu eby'enjawulo
ono Sylvia abuuza can one conceive after a star with saved ovaries and cervix ategeeza ki star
subtotal abdominal hysterectomy subtotal means that usually tuyagikola for emergencies like omuntu nga bwe tubadde wano nga tugera ku infection ne bamufumita ekyoma nosanga nga nabaanagi evunze tutera okugyamu ekitundu kya nabaana netulekamu oba oluusi nabaana ng'eyabise olw'ensonga ezitali zimwe oba abadde azaala nayabika nabaana netulemu ogitaasa tukaka tugiggyemu tulekamuko cervix naye tasobola kuwetika lubuto oyo maama bw'ati atalina nabaana kuba tubakitegeeza mwana waakulira anti cervix yeba esigaddemu cervix erina emigaso emirala gyebemyamu naye nga tesobola kwetikka lubuto omwana takulira mu cervix mwana akulira munda mu uterus kati the beauty of it kirungi kyalina nti ovaries bwaba zirina amagi gakyaliyo kati oyo yeetaaga magi ne bagajjayo ne baleeta n'enkwaso z'omwami then we get a surrogate mother kitegeera omukyalo omulala ne bateeka amagi
omwana n'akulira mu lubuto lwamulala ne bamubawa omwana
ne bamubawa tasobola kufuna ye tasobola kwetikka lubuto oyo
omulala ali ku simu hello terera mukwano toli clear n'akatono terera oba ddamu okube esimu hello yes mukwano tukuwulira mukwano yogera
njagala kugenda nakutiva
wangi oyagala ku namba ya dokita tujja gikuwanga tumaliza program Aisha yabuuziza yazaala omwana emyaka 9 emabega agezezaako kati olubuto lukyagaanye
ebintu byokuba nti nozaddeko nobeera notaddamu kuzaala era nga bwe nagambye naye ba topic ndala ntugituulako netugyogerako gye mubaddeko ewiiki ezo eziwedde nza nti esaawa ezo mba siri ku TV naye nawulidde nti bye mubadde mwogerako so wabeerawo ebintu bingi ebiyinza okuba nga bireese obuzibu okuba nti ki tazaala ki mwana mulala naye ate alina kyayongerezaako wansi bwate ennaku zino amazzi agamuvaamu gawunya nnyo kati ekyo ate kyetaaga kujjanjaba nakebeza simanyi bwe yali akebeza ku kansa w'omumwa gwa nnabaana kiba kyetaagisa agenda alaba omusawo bamukebereko kuba amazzi ago agawunya agatali ga bulijjo gaba getaaga okukola kyokebero n'ebirala ebiyinza okuba nga biviiriddeko okuba nti tafuna mangu
obaana amazzi bwe gatuukira okuwunya ennyo munda infection teka kuba ebadde y'amaanyi ng'eruddemu
kisinziira ki kiriwo infection kijayina kuba oluusi n'omumwa gwa nnabaana bwe guba gulwadde ekyo kye tusooka okufuna osi naye organisms endala eziba zizze bacteria infection sobola okuleeta ekyo naye ate kennyini yagambye nti bamugamba buli kimu kirungi hormones ziri bulungi ate tulinayo percentage ya infertility etalina explanation unexplained infertilities 40%. Ngoli tafuna naye nga tetulina kyetunyonyoza kati okusinziira ku kiki bakebedde abo bali awo nga tomanyi nti olwo kino kyekimuleetera obutafuna studies have shown nti abo gye bali nga alinda bulinzi then finally naafuna.
Omulala ali ku simu. Hello. Wanji nyabo. Wanji? Uli ku NTV mama. Buuza ekibuuzo kyo. Abuddeko. Hello. Wanji mami. Wanji. Mubuuze. Mubuuze omusawo.
Landlord yankwata olubuto lwawise naye badde njagala ddujjamu.
Wiiki emu osobola otegeera mu lubuto. Kale mukwano.
Kiyinza kumanya balabikebedde atya n'alumanya nti gye biri wiiki emu. Simanyi kyeyatekebeza kumanya nti olubuto ki alwina naye kyetaagisa agende mu ddwaliro. First and foremost ate obudde babeera bamureping abeera tekitwala mangu kuba balina okujja mu ddwaliro ne tukwayo ku ddagala
ekyo nakyo kibagamba bamu tebakimanyi
kubanga obeera omuntu akurepinze tekiba mu kwagalako naye kyetaagisa n'ojja mangu mu ddwaliro ne bakebera akawuka ka mukenenya kati saawa eno atunuulira olubuto nti ayagala oddujja mu kuba bamurepinze naye ate tatunuulidde ekirala kiyinza kubeera nga kijjirako ne bakebera ne balaba nti tolina kawuka ne bakuwayo eddagala post exposure prophylaxis n'omirako omwezi gumu naye ensonga agitwale mu ddwaliro si kubeera akanaganja akulujamu n'agenda kyagende yekwekeeya alugyemu agende mu ddwaliro then boogere omusawo yenna anaabamulaba boogere banyonyolegane bulungi buli omu anyonyoke ensonga ze zaalina okujjamu.
Sawa makutoledde salaama ga Farida, thanks for the show. Kiva ku ki omukyalo okufuna olubuto ne lukula bulungi n'atuuka mu ddwaliro n'azaala bulungi naye after some 40 minutes ne bagamba nti omwana w'emabega agaanye okuvaayo ne bakugjamu nnabaana. Nsaba kumanya buzibu ki obuleeta ekyo. Ndabira Dr. Sekamate Yasin owa Paul Ekansanga. Oyabamanyi.
Njamulaba yatumanyi nnyo naye ekintu ekyo kisoboka okubaawo olw'ebintu bingi nnyo. Kuba omwana w'emabega alina w'alina okwekwata munnabaana naye ebiseera ebisinga ayinza okwekwata awakyamu. Ekyo tuseera kiraba mu bantu abaali balongooseddwako. Omwana w'emabega ayinza okwekwata muli mu nkovu we twalongoosa. Si w'alina okubeera n'akulira awe kati olwokuba abeera wanafu amanyi okuyitamu n'ayita ne munnabaana n'ajja paka wabweru wa nnabaana. Placenta eyo n'ekula n'eyitamu. Kati eriiso erina obuzibu bw'amaanyi nnyo. Esobola okutta omukyala ng'amaze okuzaala mwagala ogijjayo n'eremerayo kuba yakula ewakyamu. Kati ekirala mu complications era lyose n'atubuuza kye n'addi n'erabidde mu bijja oluvannyuma n'ekyo mwekiri. Wano ekyuma kiba kikufumisa ebanga babadde bakolako eyo mu kyalo gy'oba ogenze yonna. Awo ekyuma wekifumise wafuuka wanafu ekisenge ekyo kiba kinafu. Kati omwana w'emabega naye asobola okujja n'akola ki n'akulira awo. Kati bw'aba takulidde mu kifo balina kukulira agenda mu nnyama mwali waayita ekyuma ne wafumita w'ekituli omwana emabega ayinza okula nayingira mu nyama kati tugenda okuzaala omwana twagala okugyayo placenta nga tejja ng'eyingidde muli munda mu bisenge bya nnabaana kati buli wogezaako okusika bleeding okufa omusaayi guba mungi nnyo kyekitera okutuleetera okolaki okugyamu nabaana ng'omuntu abadde azadde bulungi placenta neeremerayo otuuka mu theatre nga placenta eri muki munda muli mu nnyama ya nabaana nga tolina bw'omutaasa ng'okutaasa obulamu bwe mulina kumugya muki nabaana
n'omuntu gwe baggyemu olubuto era omwana w'emabega bamugyayo
kisinzira obuto oluba lwenkana naye kati ekizibu we kiva oliyinza oganza ate bali tebannongoosangako kuba ngambye nti no abantu abatera ekifuna babeera n'enkovu ku nabaana kati naavuddemu olubuto nga ekyuma bamukozeeko ekyuma ne kimufumita newe kiba kyafumitawo ne wawona buwonyi nga bamuwadde eddagala wabeera wanafu omwana w'emabega asobola okukulirawo awo kati wakulirawo nakyo kisobola okuba ekizibu naye olwo ne balutonga oluvaamu negiba myezi 5 omwana w'emabega alina okuvaayo
ate luno olw'ebiri 3
abo byonna bigira wamu biba tebinneyawula nnyo naye nga bwetutuuka myezi 3 byonna bigira era olaba omwana n'omwana w'emabega omutono abeera aliwo.
Ali ku simu. Hello. Hello. Wanji. Hello. Wanji nyabo.
Hello.
Tukuwulira mukwano.
Sorry, Dad. Nafuna zimeeva mu lubuto.
Gena maaso. Oli ku TV. Tetukuwulidde sokoterere. Hello. Hello. Wanji. Hello. Bakuyita Aisha. Omwana afiira mu lubuto emyezi 2 si mitono. Wanji? Hello, Aisha. Network yete bade na very clear. Nendooza kyempulidde yazaala omwana yamufiira mu lubuto.
Kati ekyo kyagambye emyezi 2 tegiyinza kukola ki? Kumweraliikiriza nnyo asooka agumiikirize alabe ebikyabwe kinaagenda. Omwana aba yafiira munda ne bamuteekako ebisa kisinzira we yalinkana n'avaayo n'amuzaala kuba ebisa bisinga mwana era ne bwafiiramu. Ebisa biba bino kuluma omuzaali kati omala omuzaala era bw'oba tolina buzibu olina okukola ki okuddamu n'ofuna mu lubuto asooka kiwemu emyezi nga 6 oluusi tukiwamu paka ku mwaka okusinziira ku myaka gy'omuntu.
Hi Farida, my wife has a 5-month-old baby and at this time she's 3 months pregnant. Nsobeddwa tukole tutya tulujemu oba nga yalufuna mangu
yalufuna naye era nga bwe nagambye text tutangu tobeera wekka nti olufunye wekka bali bombi naye solution y'okulufuna mangu si kulujjamu. Solution y'okulufuna mangu kuluzaala and then you prepare
n'okuza bibebi byo
then you make a family planning method nga bano maze bazaala kuba bojjukira experience eri eyo kuba nti olufunye mangu naye ate ono tomugyamu kuba tewali nsonga lwaki omugyamu. Next time try to prevent okufuna contraception nga tonafuna ki lubuto lulala naye mwana we bamuzaala bajja kubasanyusa nnyo abaana bano basanyusa
nnyo mpaka lubiza ano nga lwakagwamu n'ogamba abantu bagenda kwogera
ate abantu balina okumanya ekintu kimu abantu si be basalawo mu bulamu bwammwe ebintu by'obulamu bwammwe birina kubeera mu ggwe n'omwami wo ne family naye jja nga mwababiri mumaze okusalawo kuba it's between the two of you kati abantu bajja abantu mu kusalawo kwabwe abantu tebayinza kusalirawo.
Ate bajja kuseka wano bw'ofunye mangu olubuto naye nga
ate era bw'otofune mwana era baseke so I mean ekyo nze tekinkolera makulu mba njagala otunuulire ggwe ekikyo n'omwami wo and that is it abalala bajje bakiwulire kye mwazazeewo.
Endi embi esobola okugyamu olubuto abuuza endya embi esobola okugyamu olubuto.
Simanyi ndya mbi gyayogerako naye
ng'ozanga oli emmere etali mu kiriisa kiyamba lubuto kukola.
Usually abantu abatafuna bulungi folic acid kubeera mu musaayi gwabwe pregnancy zijja lubuto ne lufailinga ne tutagenda bugenzi mu maaso.
Okay. Waliwo abali kusimuka nkwate mulala omu. Hello. 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 Wanji. Kale nawe gye baliko. Hello. Okay, ndowooza avudde ku waliwo abuuza, can a woman conceive with a forgotten IUD?
What do you mean by forgotten IUD? What did you mean by forgotten IUD? Nga yerabiddwa etya? Eba mweri
yebeekola mulimu gwayo oba gw'ogyerabidde.
Maybe ng'oli ali mu 1% abafunira ku kwel, their pregnancies which occur with 1% just to the people nga yina kwel n'afuna olubuto. Otherwise you can't forget an IUD that you put.
Ate gwe bw'ogyerabira yeesigala ekola byayo.
So itogenda ne bagijjamu.
Okay. Kati komaawo abalina ebibuuzo bye mutasobodde kubuuza kambawe ennamba ya Dr. Neema Nasolo musobola omutuukirira individually 0782 30 24 35 0782 30 24 35 07 munana asatu abiri munya munana biri sorry 07 munana biri asatu abiri munya asatu mutano. Dr. Neema omusanga wali ku Muganzirwaza eddwaliro Health Sense Medical Center. Mwebale nnyo mubadde balabi balungi tudde munate enkya musibe bulungi era mwekuume.
Mwasuze Mutya was brought to you by
Just add the Radiant Hair Polisher before styling and finish your magical look with the Radiant Olive Sheen Spray. Your big day is definitely on. Radiant. Feel yourself.
Your life and your health are too important to be risked with a person who does not love you enough to want to protect you.
Finance Trust Bank introduces the Women's Choice products, exceptional financial solutions coupled with high interest on savings and low interest on loans to meet her unique needs.
Finance Trust Bank, putting women first.
NTV, turning on your world.
Look at all the juices that are in there, and that is what I'm looking for. My goodness, look at that.
Beauty Tips is brought to you by
Now with micro droplets of Vaseline jelly. Vaseline lotion deeply moisturizes dry skin and keeps skin smooth and restored for 3 times longer. That's the healing power of Vaseline.
NTV is giving you an opportunity to get discovered. Be the next big screen star. Are you an actor or an actress or have dreams to become one? Well, here is the biggest chance to fulfill that dream. Take a picture of yourself and tell us what makes you stand out. Then #DiscoverMe on any of our social media pages. We are watching and we want to discover you.
on the next episode.
This Wednesday at 8 p.m. on NTV. Revved Up, Uganda's premier motoring show, is back once again with an all-new and exciting episode. Join us every week as we take you through the latest innovations and developments in the motoring industry. All this and more on Revved Up.
This program is rated GE. It is suitable for all audiences.
I can't allow him to die.
Well, at least he had a good night. He woke up without a fever.
Ah, Eva.